Well, we're back. We're back at the 9 Club. Today, let me tell you something, Raj. We got a special guest sitting here in the hot seat. Ryan Clements is here.
Now I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous.
I wasn't nervous up until that point.
Why are you nervous?
You know what? It's the same intro for everybody. You know?
Okay.
It's the same intro.
Everyone's special.
Everyone's a special guest. It says it on the title card at the beginning.
Cool. I can't wait.
So,
I can't wait till you put me on Instagram and say, you have to listen to this.
Oh, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's going to be listening, dude.
And watching.
Everybody. Yeah. The whole industry. Okay.
All right. Good.
And kids.
Good. That's what I
and
want.
Kids and all our fan base.
Kids can figure out what I do.
Yeah.
What does that guy do?
You're no longer like the ride channel guy.
Yeah. You remember when you were a kid skating and you saw someone with gray hair and you're like, that dude probably doesn't know shit about anything.
Right.
I know that's what kids think of me now.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think. But we'll find out. Maybe I'm wrong. Prove me wrong today. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I don't even know who the hell you are, but we'll figure it out.
Why am I here?
I'm just kidding. No, you do a lot of things in skateboarding.
I'm an announcer.
You are.
No.
Yes.
I don't want. I never wanted to be an announcer.
You know what? Let me tell you something. Though. I never wanted to be a fucking
I never wanted to
podcast host. Whatever this show is, but. No, but you do a lot of things in skateboarding. You've done a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
You've been a lot of places. Talk about announcing though. You were fucking great at announcing though. Can I
Thanks.
tell you? You were
I
really.
appreciate
yeah,
that.
you still do sometimes, right?
I do,
Get on the mic. Yeah.
Yeah, I do the Vans Park series.
Okay.
I'll do a little bit of our local stuff like Grind for Life around Florida and things like
Perfect.
that.
Right.
But yeah, when it's requested, I'll do it.
Okay.
But it's not. I think I'm better behind the scenes. My skill set is better.
Yeah.
To keep things organized. Contest
Perfect.
director.
Okay.
Point fingers.
Yeah.
That's what I've been
coordinator.
doing more recently. But yeah, I mean, announcing, I feel like I did it and I felt like I got pretty good at it. I was confident doing it. But I think that there's something about being 43, almost 44, where you're like, all right, next skater, put your hands together. And I'm like, man, I feel like people are looking at me going, what the fuck is that guy doing?
You're the new Dave Duncan.
Hey, man, Duncan's always been nice to me, But yeah, of course, yeah. If my voice, I'll put it this way. I felt like I could do more, and I will still announce. I'm happy to do it. I actually enjoy doing this. And the past few years, when the Kimberly Diamond Cup was going on, I was doing live TV, and I enjoy that. Like that challenge is fun.
It's very demanding, that live TV bullshit.
Yes.
I did
Yes.
the Phoenix Am webcast with Chris Pat. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Somebody's in your ear talking. You got title cards popping up. You got dudes doing their runs back there. You're looking at a monitor. Like it's
intense.
Mm-hmm.
But going back, you grew up in Florida, right?
Born in Philly.
Born in Philly.
I moved to Tampa when I was 9.
9.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I feel like everything in my skateboarding life is from Tampa.
Right.
Yeah. There was a funny that people don't know this. How would you?
Yeah.
Josh Stewart and I lived on the same street before we both skated.
Really?
Wow.
Very random.
Wow.
Yeah. His older brother, Jeb, had a
Okay.
skateboard. That's what got us into it. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Jeb
Yeah,
Stewart.
Jeb Stewart.
Did you know each other back then too when you were?
Yeah. I mean, it
Because
was
sometimes neighbors, they don't know each other.
No, when I say it was like 12 houses down, and
Okay.
I had lived there, and they moved in.
Oh.
And Jeb would ride skateboard around, and I just had a BMX bike, and Josh was he's like 5 years younger or something, so he just was like a little kid.
Wow.
He was like in 2nd grade, I was in 6th.
No way.
Yeah, and Jeb was a really good top am skater in the late 80s, early 90s.
Okay.
Yeah, and Josh was like not even fully skating till like the early 90s.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So is that what piqued your interest in skating? Was seeing Jeb rolling around, or
Jeb, and then there was another kid that was their cousin that had a skateboard. You know how you get inspired that first time. Dude had a trench coat with a bunch of bands written on it, and then like pink Powell board, Steve Caballero with the dragon on the top, and I was like, I want to be that. I want that.
Okay.
Like I just knew, just knew, something attracts you to something. You don't know why. I don't know why that.
Was that like mid 80s?
It was 85.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh.
85 that I first was like figured out what it was, and then in Tampa, like once we started figuring out ramps and scenes and all that, there was a vert ramp of all things, not like a couple miles from my house in this orange grove. It was called the Doll House. The people were the dolls. They lived on a lake, and they were wealthy and had like a ramp. I don't know how wide the ramp was there, but anyone could go skate it.
did they have kids that skated it too?
No,
or
they were like
just
older.
built it. Really?
It was older.
That's strange.
It was very odd.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't know anyone other than like, I didn't know who owned the ramp. I just know you would go there on Saturdays and be like a full-on session.
Oh.
So the first time I go there, I'm like 14.
Was that the ramp that Mike Frazier skated in, like Paul 8?
No, no, that was the Gainesville ramp, I
Okay.
think, or Jonesville. and that was like a couple hours north. No, this is a couple years before that.
Okay.
And then I get out of the car and it's like Rob Mertz, Ken Sigafus, and all these guys. And that was my first introduction, like Ken Sigafus screaming and smashing his board and Rob Mertz doing 4-foot lean to tails. And that was my introduction to like punk rock and,
Really?
you know, them listening to Dead Kennedys and Straight Edge and like all this shit that it was just like very influential at the time. And I was like, whoa, it was just really intimidating, you know?
I bet. But did you ride the ramp while you were the first time?
ate shit dropping in the first time
No
because,
way.
you know, because, you know, Mertz is like, are you going to drop in or are you going to sit there all day? I'm like, you drop in, eat shit. And then, you know,
Were you playing it off like,
You didn't
oh
try
yeah,
to,
I
like,
got
pump
this?
and then try and
No, you did not pump there. This is different. It was different. It was
Yeah.
like going to a construction site for the first time and your first day on the job, and everyone just treats you like shit.
Right.
But I believe that like forms you.
Yeah,
of
It
course.
forms kids. I mean, we're soft nowadays,
I
right?
know.
It's
Yeah.
like,
Seriously. I mean,
Yeah.
if Kelly had that, and when he was growing up, I mean, he would have been a different
man.
person,
I'd
man.
be
You know
way
what I
different.
mean? Like, yeah.
I'd be at that table if I had that.
I
you
would
know?
maybe.
it makes you tough, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. So did you play it off like, oh, I got that. I'm gonna, or were you like somebody hold my hand? Or
No,
like,
no, I just went up and dropped in and ate shit.
Okay.
Yeah, that was it. And then I just got back up and did it again. That was
Oh,
it.
and you
know,
made
was
it.
like, I
Second
made it the
try.
second try.
Oh,
Yeah,
perfect.
wow.
Good. Did a little kick turn up at the,
Yeah,
or
kick
did you
couple kick turns.
scratch? Did you
No,
scratch?
I wasn't doing that. No.
Okay.
I mean, this is back when, what's the hardest tricks at the time that anyone was doing in person was like a layback air.
okay.
There was a little channel, someone could frontside ollie it, you know, a couple foot airs, that
Right.
kind of thing. It's not like, it was not, you know. And then you got to figure Tampa, looking at California in the magazines, and that was like Hollywood to me.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I felt, before Skate Park in Tampa started, like I was so like it was just you're just looking at it.
Okay.
I had a little connection with Frazier because I grew up skating after that, like skate and vert with Frazier and being around that.
Okay.
And he went away and he came back really fucking good, like way better. And you're
Yeah.
like, oh, that's what California does to you when you
he just progressed super fast.
Dude, super fast.
Well,
Yeah,
it's the
super
water
fast.
out here.
Is that what it is?
It's the water.
Oh.
Yeah, we have great water. You know. So he passed you, and or were you
dude,
the same age, or were you?
We're the same age. He
Yeah,
might be a year
okay.
older, but
Right.
yeah, there was this other place, and you guys may have heard of this. We found out about this place after finding out about Dollhouse. It was called Astro Skate.
Okay.
So that's where everyone would go. It was a roller skating rink, and they would put ramps in the roller skating rink on Saturday night, and they had a big mini ramp. Well, then after they built the mini ramp, they built a vert ramp.
Oh.
It was so random. It was just like 9 and 1, 10-foot tall vert
Okay.
ramp. But that's where I believe I met Frazier, and the Dares would go there. George Dare, Mike Dare, Scott Conklin.
Didn't
Bo
Mike
Turner.
Dare's brother ride for blind at one point in time, something
He
like that?
did. Yeah. He could ollie really high back then in like
What
the
was
80s.
his name?
George.
George.
George Dare. Yeah. Montesi. Like a lot of dudes came out of that area.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember when Lance Conklin, just a lot of guys that. So then as those guys started to make it, I had a little bit of a connection sort
Okay.
of, I guess, that I'll be like, wow, my friends in the magazine, or when Frazier had the cover doing that front blunt trans world and somewhere in England on this tranny, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the super one with no flat.
Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing
Yeah.
looking.
Yeah, I remember that
Big
calling
head.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like, holy shit, Mike's on the cover. So I had this kind
Wow.
of connection before skate park, before I worked at skate park, I
Yeah.
was like, so I just knew, I was like, man, I want to work in this. Because I
Yeah.
knew obviously I'm not good enough to be in skateboarding.
Oh, so you knew all back? I mean,
I knew right away.
You knew right away.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
The first time you
Justin
dropped
Reed?
in on the ramp, you're like, "This maybe I should just be on the."
I just didn't.
on the back end.
As soon as he ate shit, he's like, I gotta work in the industry.
Just being around Jeb Stewart.
Okay,
It's just like
yeah.
he was so good and he was getting hooked up by companies and immediately.
So you never
was
wanted
like,
to try? You never wanted to like
I just-
sponsor me? You never wanted to go for it?
I was always competitive.
Oh.
I could win a contest back
Oh,
then
oh,
because
yeah?
I knew how to put a run together. I mean, I still do.
Oh, yeah.
You know what it takes to win a contest. I've always been a contest nerd.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always skated in contests. I could always win contests.
Right.
Because all it is one trick on each obstacle, put a run together.
Well, but back then though, contests were big, right? And you could
I
make a
think
career just doing contests.
Sort
no?
of. I guess you can
Yeah?
now again too.
Well, that's
Didn't it
true.
just switch?
That's true.
I think
Yeah.
Rob and I were talking about it yesterday, the day before. It was like, I think it's switched where you can just straight up have a contest career.
Totally can,
I
yeah.
mean, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Absolutely.
You don't need to have a board sponsor
yeah.
anymore.
Or
Yeah.
it might even may have more importance at the moment.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's probably
Yeah.
because it's so oversaturated. Like that's the only time you get the time to shine.
Yeah, right.
You
Tell me about it, right? It's like, of course it's oversaturated. It doesn't even matter when you're scrolling, I guess, right?
Yeah,
You know?
right.
So
Yeah.
that's, I guess, a whole nother thing. But back
Crazy.
to just being in Tampa and away from it all, like it all just was so, it just seemed like it wasn't possible to do.
Okay.
Like that's why I'm so appreciative of where I am sitting here,
Yeah.
and like everything I've been able to do in skateboarding, see the world. I mean, there's no reason that,
It's a huge perk. Yeah.
dude, it's like I get to see everything, and that to me is
It's fucked when you really like step back and think like skateboarding brought me here or wherever.
Totally.
Like,
It's it really is, man.
Yeah.
And the treats of being in the Sky Club, as cheesy as that sounds, or the first class flight where they're pairing the wine with the steak, and I'm like, fuck, this
Giving
is
you a real knife and fork.
yeah, I'm like,
you're like,
this
whoa.
is. Yeah. I mean, I work for it. I work a lot,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like I appreciate the fact that that I can have a private skate park in my front yard.
I know,
just
but
do-
the dream driveway. We all know
yeah,
the dream
yeah,
driveway.
of course, of course, everyone knows.
But so when you were in Tampa, though, you didn't
Yeah.
feel like you should come out to California because this is where the industry was pretty
Yeah.
much. So if you wanted to be a
Yeah.
part of it, you didn't feel like you needed to come out here to try to.
I came and visited,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and I came in. Jeb was living in Oakland with Ron Allen during the fun time.
Wow.
And then it's funny, of all people, Keith Huffnagel was living there or staying there at the same time.
Sick.
We were like
Yeah.
18, 19,
Yeah.
Wow.
and then I knew, I had a van, I drove around, I skated, I traveled as much
Okay.
as I could at that time, and then I went back to Tampa, went to college, and kind of started, I'm going to have a job. I'm going to get a job because I wanted to be self-sufficient. I wanted to have that. There's a certain, when you have a certain amount of money, you have freedom.
Yeah,
in
of course.
a certain way. So I wanted that. I wanted to be like away from my parents,
Yeah.
be able to hold my own.
Mm-hmm.
And then no one can tell you what to do at that point either.
Right.
what'd you go to school for?
I ended up quitting. I quit.
Did you?
Yeah, I quit before I got an AA, and then I went back and got an AA when I was 30. But I started.
How long were you drinking for? Before, I mean, I don't want to get personal, but
I spent a few years doing that, didn't we all?
Okay,
I mean, I spent a few years drinking.
AA. Oh, the
there
degree.
you go.
The degree.
Of course,
oh,
of
yeah.
course.
No,
I
my
can tell
bad,
you. I guess you didn't get one.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't get either of them. No.
I quit college. I started a lawn maintenance business, landscaping, which is it was.
Why did you want to do that? So weird.
I wanted to do something.
You're in
that
college one second, and then now you're mowing lawns.
it was college. It was too slow, man. Like
Really?
Like community college. It's like 13th and 14th grade for kids that can't go to get to real universities. And it was. I got straight A's one semester. I was paying my own way. I was working a job construction. And I was like, what am I in college for? Like I felt like I could just go and do what
Yeah.
Right.
just go beyond it. That's what I'm not like.
Okay.
I don't think I'm better than or whatever. And I wish I did go get a BA or a master's at some point now.
Uh-huh.
But I'll never do it.
But you're fine now.
It doesn't
though. I
matter
mean,
now.
yeah,
No,
right.
no, it means nothing
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah.
It actually means nothing for people that work for me too. I'm like, oh, cool, we went to college. I'm like, what?
Oh, you dropped out? Perfect.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. If you're, So I started mowing lawns just because I knew that I could do it, and I just had. I could figure like the small business mentality. I've always been able to figure that out. So, I knew like, hey, wait, I can buy this equipment. It'll cost me this much. I can buy this truck. I can make this much money a day. It'll pay. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. And at the time I was like probably 21 making $50,000 a year. And that's like, I was
Whoa.
like in
Mowing
Florida.
lawns.
In Florida.
How many lawns do you have to mow in 1 year to make $50,000?
Well, I would have like 50 to 70 accounts and they pay you monthly. And then I'd have employees.
Oh,
and
so
like,
you had a business going.
I had a corporation when I was 20. I started my first business when I was 20.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so I've always been involved in business.
Okay.
In some capacity. I didn't even know what I was doing. I just went for it.
Yeah.
And then I had a friend. And of course Rob was the CPA.
Rob Marinick.
Marinick, yeah.
Right.
I've known Rob since the year I graduated high school, so 91.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So really long time. So he's like, yeah, I'll do your taxes for you. And at the time I didn't know anything about that part of it. I just knew how to earn the money.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I learned at that point how to like deal with people because you deal with difficult customers.
Right.
People that, and then you have easy customers. And I learned how to like, oh, wow, I lost money doing that or I made money doing this. And I had all these hard lessons. And you remember Florida is like, it's still cheap. But at that time, I bought a house when I was 20. It was $44,000.
No way.
Oh, God.
I mean, so I had, I was able to I got a head start.
Right.
My mortgage was like $440 in 1994 or
Jeez,
something.
crazy.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
93 maybe it was I bought a house. I can't remember.
Jesus.
So yeah, I think it was 93. Yeah. So it's like I got that head start.
Right.
And I've always just had that mind.
Yeah.
And I knew I wasn't good enough at skating to go back to the reason that I.
So you kind of left skating though. Obviously, I mean,
Yeah.
you're mowing lawns and you got a whole go. Well,
Yeah.
how did the lawn business end? I mean, you had to let people.
Well,
you had to let people go.
Well,
right?
I was
You had to
always
fire.
Well, I was always friends with Schaefer.
Oh, right.
So I mowed the lawn at Skate Park of Tampa.
No way.
Yeah,
That's
mowed the moat?
amazing.
right when he first
Would he
rented the
let you
building.
like skate for free if you mowed the lawn?
You're nailing it right there. That's exactly it. And at the time, and then And once they built that metal bowl out back, I was like skating all the time because it was something that I wanted to ride.
Gotcha.
So I started, and Rob and I would go up there on Friday nights and Saturday nights, and Rob and I would be the only dudes at our age that had money.
Okay.
So we would go skate and then go to Ybor, go drinking
Go
and
partying,
right? Because we were in our early 20s.
Yeah.
And then Schaefer as well because he had money.
Okay.
Because the skate park was,
It was doing
it was
well.
a business.
Yeah, it was
it was
going
a business.
good.
Yeah,
Okay.
you had enough money to go drinking. Where
Perfect.
so we just kind of all became close that way.
Drinking buddies, yeah.
Or skating a little bit. Yeah. But that kept me skating that metal bowl.
Sick.
And that's what always. And then it was like, hey, you're doing the pro contest? I think I worked the door or did security like the first one or something. No, maybe the first one I didn't work. I just went and watched, and I was like, hey, I want to help, and that's how I got into doing it.
How did Schaefer end up owning the skate park at Tampa though in the beginning? Like how did he?
He just started. He just went for it.
He
and
went
started
for it,
which I mean is remarkable.
Right.
On nothing, basically.
Right.
It's like literally on nothing, and just did it. And he had that vert ramp was donated to him by Zitzer.
Oh.
Because Zitzer's parents, I guess, financed a warehouse in Tampa when Zitzer was finishing college at USF.
Okay.
So there was a vert ramp in a warehouse in Drew Park, which is like right where our office is now. Funny, it's like 2 blocks from it.
Huh.
And then they only did it for a year. That ramp went into storage, I believe, if I have the story right.
How do you store a
Yeah, how do you-
Yeah,
vert
right.
ramp?
Yeah.
Jeez.
And then
Just gotta break it
That's
down.
a big public storage unit.
for real.
You know.
Or maybe they just took it right to skate park, but I don't think
Okay.
so. And then next thing you know, like that's the vert ramp was donated.
Wow.
Brian saved up a little bit of money, but at the time I think the economy was super shitty.
Yeah.
So there was a landlord that was willing to go, yeah, okay, first and last month, no problem.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And I think the rent was like a couple grand. It was nothing.
Wow.
It was nothing at the time. So
Crazy.
Yeah, that's how that started.
Yeah.
That place is still the same where it started, the skateboard Tampa.
Yeah, and it was in just the front building at that time.
Yeah.
And then it ended up moving to the back one.
Wow.
Yeah, as well.
How
Yeah.
long until they
Wow.
bought the property?
I started there 93. The skate park started. I started there in 98, maybe 2001 or 2002.
Okay.
Bought
Oh.
the property.
So it was a while.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, a long time. And it was we were getting too big.
Okay.
To like we just wanted to, and rent went up. We're spending a lot of money, and we're like, well, maybe we can just go somewhere else and get a better building. And the landlord was like, I'll sell it to you. So he sold it to us. That's
Wow.
how. And he was great. And then my ex-brother-in-law is a real estate attorney. He did the deal.
Okay.
So everything went super smooth. He got us financed, and
Jeez.
it was just like it was like a gift when the way that shook down.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It really was. Yeah.
Right.
That just because you could have some landlords be like, well, fucking move out then.
Yeah.
We don't, I
No,
don't
seriously.
care.
Right.
Yeah. And who knows how it would have gone down.
Yeah.
So that's one
So
advantage that skate park has always had,
Yeah.
as opposed to other skate parks.
Is owning their own land.
On your own building.
Wow.
No one can kick you out.
That's right.
No one can tell you what to do.
So that one time you worked the door,
Yeah.
and did you just keep working there, or how
Yeah,
did you?
I think it was
become-
like just kind of hanging out with Brian, hanging out there, just kind of talking business. And I was
Okay.
like, man, I think I could like help you. Because I
Oh.
knew we had told each other how we're doing and
Right.
things are going. I was like, man, I think I can help. I think I can like make it better. I think I can alleviate some of the shit you do and do it for you. And I'm kind of good at this and that. And,
Oh.
and then I kind of talked my way into a job.
So you kind of saw something there.
I saw,
You
well,
were-
I could
some
look
potential,
at
right?
Well, I saw potential in the business, and that's what I wanted to be around. I mean,
Yeah.
I wanted to be around skating.
Okay.
And I saw that at the time he was like judging contests here and there. I was like, man, you're traveling, doing this. I want to be around this. This is so cool.
You
I mean,
running the shop at first, or
Oh yeah, we all just did like whatever, right? I worked the shop, worked the door, worked the shop, cleaned the toilets, fixed the ramps. I mean, there were 4 employees at the time. It was like it was like nothing. It's like super small time, just doing whatever we could to wing it.
Obviously, you'd find things to do, right? You'd be like, oh, well, let's incorporate this, or let's do this, or
Well,
let's. I mean, how did you?
One of the first things that
how'd you
I
work your way
did,
in?
I didn't understand retail at the time. It took me a long time to understand retail.
Okay.
A really long time. The first few years, we just started trying to get more money for sponsorship deals for Tampa Am and Tampa Pro. 'Cause
Okay.
we saw some potential there. So I just kind of jumped on that. I used to make these really archaic like sponsorship packages like by hand and print them out at Kinko's. And I would go to ASR and go booth to booth, man, and just try to sell people stuff.
No way.
Like really
like you can have a banner in the background for $25 or whatever.
exactly.
No,
man,
wow.
exactly.
But like, how long?
Yeah.
How long had Tampa Am and Tampa Pro been running at this time?
3 to 4 years.
3 to 4 years. So it
Yeah.
wasn't even a big thing yet, right?
No, no,
it was just a small.
It was just
pro.
cool. It was cool. Maybe the purse was like 10 grand or something. I
Oh,
can't remember exactly.
okay.
5 grand or 10 grand. And,
Right.
I think it was Duff's that just came in It was like after Airwalk and then Duff's. I think it was when I first started working there, it was Duff's.
Okay.
And then we were just asking for more and seeing what we could do. And then we would get like, I mean, you know, Thrasher and Big Brother and Transport, they'd do like 10, 15, 20 pages on us.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so it would be, I remember Big Brother being like 15 pages and the whole Tampa article, and the logos would show up so many times. So at the time, as these businesses had upward trajectories, they're making more and more money. They're like, oh, you want 50 grand? Oh, you want 80? Oh, you want 100? So we started being able to like do this.
Yeah.
You know, so it started to kind of work.
Yeah.
And
you were really doing those kind of numbers.
Yeah, back then, yeah, for sure.
Really?
So, I mean, I don't know what it is now. It was like, but yeah, so like I learned the game, right? And then when brands like Red Bull stepped in, I learned like, and then Gatorade, and I mean, if you think about it, like I think Skate Park at Tampa kind of like ushered Nike SB into skateboarding and legitimized it in a certain way.
Yeah.
You know, because it was there, but then it was like, oh, now
by them being a part of this core
yeah,
contest.
I think so, because at the time it was like DVS still.
Yeah.
Did you
You
approach Nike, or did Nike approach you guys?
We just knew the people.
Oh, you knew?
You just
Yeah,
knew.
I mean,
you just
right,
know.
everybody-
Everyone knows each other. You kind of
Yeah.
talk. You know.
Okay.
Yeah,
That was a crazy time though. When I remember it was DVS would always sponsor it, but when
Yeah.
Nike came in, I think all of skateboarding when they were seeing Nike signs all over was like,
Well, they
whoa,
branded the shit out of it.
yeah, but it was like
They
that's
did.
when skateboarders were kind of questioning Nike coming into skating.
Everyone did.
and
Yeah.
that's where like, wow,
Did you
they're here.
Did you guys get some? Did you guys get some heat for that?
Yeah, definitely. You
Yeah.
get that, but you have to make that decision, right? So you're like, oh wait, the purse is at the purse of time maybe it was 50, and it's like, well now it could be 100. Maybe it's back down to 75 now. Budget
Okay.
cuts, you know.
Yeah.
You hear that
Yeah.
concept, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, I just saw potential. We just saw potential. Why would you not do something you haven't done? It's just, to me, and especially if you can do more for skateboarding, I'm like, wait, and all the time, everyone's heart there is in the right place. Like, we just turned around and did cool shit in skateboarding.
Yeah.
Is in my opinion, of course, it's
Yeah.
my opinion of like what is cool. But
Yeah,
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 it's
for
like
sure.
I felt like, you know, there was always an improvement there at skate park. Every time you would come every year, I remember Ian Deacon from Flip would be like, man, every time I come here, you guys like fix the bathroom, then you remodel the shop, then you built this ramp, and then you did like, he would notice. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh cool, man, you notice that we're trying.
Yeah.
Because we bought those warehouses, they were like,
Shit.
dude, yeah, they're so shitty. I mean,
Wow.
and if you think, it's funny because I'm desensitized to it growing up in the hood kind of area, you know, and people are like, this area is so ghetto, it's so, and I'm like, really? I didn't realize it was.
Yeah.
That area is pretty ghetto, dude.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
It's definitely gotten better though.
Yeah.
I love it, but
Hey,
it's
when my wife's from Orange County, and when she first came to Tampa, she asked why people were sitting on their porches.
No way.
And there was no light. And I'm like, well, either one, they didn't pay the electric bill, or two, they can't afford a light. She just didn't. It's just like you get desensitized to.
Yeah.
I'm desensitized to it, and if you're not used to that, it could be shocking, I guess. You know?
How did you meet your wife? And she's from Orange County.
She worked for ASR.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Just we were contracting for them. We were announcing demos.
Okay.
All right,
Wow.
announcing demos.
Damn.
Yeah.
Schmoozed your way in, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. She did registration. So I
Oh.
was just always really friendly with it, because
So you
we would
can-
have
yeah.
a list. You know how when you remember not
Oh.
being able to get into ASR?
Yeah, it was
yeah.
tough.
So I was friends with her, and I would just be like, hey, here's my list of 100 dudes for real. And she would be like, yeah, no problem.
And you'd have to stand there and talk to her for a while, right?
Yeah,
You'd
yeah,
have
of
to
course, yeah.
So sponsors were coming in, and you guys were doing good.
Yeah, I
at
learned, I
skate
learned a
park
lot. I
Tampa.
didn't realize how much I was learning at that point, like learning how to read contracts,
Okay.
learning what things meant. You know, before you're Googling, I would just
Right.
ask people, you know, like, what does this mean? What does that mean? Looking stuff up, you know,
Okay.
and just kind of learning it.
You guys didn't have a lawyer to
No, because I never felt like that anyone was there to rip us off. I
Okay.
never felt like that. Even to this day, when
Yeah.
I do contracts, I will get a lawyer
Okay.
when I'm dealing with someone that isn't one of us.
Oh,
You know,
right.
But I think I know like most of the terminology enough to get by.
Okay.
You know, where I'm comfortable going, hey. But there are certain situations where we have lawyers that we bring in for our
Right.
clients. Like, hey. Oh, you have an issue with this? Yeah, we need to get a lawyer. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
IP stuff, negotiating like operating agreements, writing operating agreements, things like that. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to take a stock thing off the internet when you have a specific business.
Of
Like, I'd
course,
even
right.
hire a lawyer for myself to do that.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
which I have.
Oh,
you know,
perfect.
so yeah. I mean, but I was learning a lot during that time, and I didn't realize how much I was learning. So
Yeah.
it was like, and that's what I've applied to what I'm doing now.
Oh,
it's like
okay.
learning the value, learning how to apply that value, learning oh, you won't give me this, that, the art of negotiation,
Right.
you know, of like, oh, give me this. Oh no, oh, you won't give me that? Okay, well, I'm going to take this away. Well, no, we wanted that. Okay, well, you want this? Well, then what about this? You just kind of throw all
Yeah.
the,
Yeah.
Right.
you know, it's just a,
Well, we'll get into all that, what you're doing now.
yeah,
But we'll
yeah.
get.
Yeah, I'm
but-
getting ahead.
No. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
just because we're almost past the Tampa part.
Yeah.
You know, because you obviously you guys were doing the Tampa forever.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
And then we started doing contracting for other people because they would, you know, like,
right.
you remember like people would ask us to, hey, will you run our
Host.
event, host,
Yeah,
run?
okay.
You know, I
Just like
think
an
it
event
started.
coordinator.
Yeah, we started with. You remember Battle of the Shops? What was it? What was the magazine? Damn it, I can't remember what it was. It was at Audio. It was at Audio's warehouse.
Oh,
It was a
it was a
magazine.
San Diego magazine.
Yeah. Yep. Blowing it on the
Well, I
magazine,
can't-
and the dude's name was Mike. They had this contest that
Okay.
they were doing Battle of the Shops.
Yeah, I shot a bunch of them
Did
because
you?
I worked for Audio at the time.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, and Jeff Taylor was at Audio at the time, and he was like, "Hey, can you guys help us with this contest?"
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. So you
And
guys
so
were getting everybody.
they were-
asking you.
And we're like, "What? Well, man." And so that's how we started Spotlight Productions because people were asking us to
Okay.
do stuff, and we're like, and we were doing this other stuff outside of it, like announcing demos at ASR, doing that. Remember the long distance ollie at ASR, the
Yeah.
high ollie?
Yeah,
sure.
We did all those.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
When Harold Hunter flew under the ramp.
was amazing.
The whole- yeah,
Right.
right. All that stuff.
Wow.
Like we hosted all those, the high nollie contest,
Yeah.
the high switch ollie contest. So we were like getting in that.
Those weren't your contests, but you were helping put them on.
People
right?
would have an idea,
Ah.
and then we would execute.
You would make it,
We
okay.
would execute
Right.
it. Yeah, we would do them for them, which is kind of what we're doing to this day, just on
Yeah.
a different scale.
Okay.
So yeah, we started doing that under Spot Productions, and that started. It was like our side thing, but it gained a lot of momentum.
How did you know when you first started that? How'd you know how much to charge people?
Man, you just start making it up and see what
Yeah.
you get away with.
Start making-
because I remember the first bill to like Audio or something was like, to me, was a significant amount of money. It was probably $6,000 or $7,000. I was like,
You were
whoa.
sending this to Audio.
Yeah, and I was
you
like,
were like,
whoa, I wonder what Jeff Taylor's going to say. And he was like, cool, no problem.
Yeah.
I was like,
you were like,
They had BAM money at the time.
yeah, right,
Right.
they did.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, maybe I didn't charge enough on this or whatever, you know, and you start, and your fees just, I just learned how to do it from, travel expenses,
okay.
how many hours you're spending before it, how much you're going to charge per hour, and then just day rates
Okay.
at that point. And I can do that now. I can do it really quick. If you're like, hey, how much to do a contest in South Africa with the judging, DJ, announcer, I can tell you. And then I can tell you like real quick, I could tell you, and then off like very rough. And then I could say, oh, if you want us to get 10 pros there, it's going to be this much more. If you want this kind of ramp, it's this much more. This kind of course, this much more.
Okay.
Infrastructure is going to cost you whatever. We don't do all that stuff, but I can tell someone just by just learn it.
okay, I want to put on a contest. The 9 Club contest.
All right, all
I want
right.
to put it on in the very middle of the Outback, Australia.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Now, you got to take in
gonna be-
consideration
All
like
right.
dune buggy or transportation to get out there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I want
You just
I want 15 big pros.
You want like Shane
I
O'Neill
want-
and Nija.
I would
Okay.
perfect,
all right, all right.
perfect.
No problem.
Perfect. This is the 9
Yeah.
Club Outback
Challenge.
challenge.
Yeah.
Right. I like that. It's good.
Yeah. Made it up.
Okay, so how much would you charge me to go out there and do a contest?
How much do you want for the prize purse?
Well, with these guys, they already have money, so maybe we're like 50 grand.
Okay.
Is that not good?
Are you
That's
gonna
not
pay
good.
first class flights there?
First class. Can't their sponsors pay for that? Shit.
Yeah, I don't think we're doing this.
You don't think it's
I would
what-
know. Yeah, I would know after one conference call that we're not going to do
Seriously?
that contest. Yeah,
Okay.
we're not.
Wow. Okay. Well, what if I move it to the Gold Coast or something? What if I move it to an existing
It could
escape?
be a little.
Well, because
yeah.
they have to build the park in the
Well,
middle
yeah,
of the
I mean,
Outback.
build the
You know?
park.
Yeah.
That's about
Outback.
$250.
250.
Yeah.
I just want wood, not concrete.
Maybe a little less.
Little
maybe.
less, yeah, right.
150.
You got to truck the wood in.
Yeah, you gotta
But,
get the wood.
Maybe helicopter. I don't know.
That would
I mean,
work.
this is for you to figure out.
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Like, how do you get the wood?
No
there?
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my problem.
Okay, so we're not
the
doing.
Answer, the answer is yes, but it's
Yeah.
going to be expensive.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Right. Shit.
The answer is always yes. When you
Always,
have a small
right.
business like us, like, can you do? Yeah, I can do that.
Listen, always take the meeting.
Do you know ABC?
ABC.
Always be closing.
Always be closing.
Come on.
What movie is that from?
I don't
That's
know.
from
It's just
fucking,
it's stupid, but
No,
but it's true. You have to have that mentality though. Like you're always
Yeah.
and not that I have fun doing it. And I love skateboarding and all that, but you have that mentality of like you're working
Right.
at all times.
if I call you at 3 a.m,
I wouldn't
With
answer.
no?
I don't do that.
okay.
I have like emergencies. Yeah, Like if I have a client that
how would you know
me,
if it's an emergency or not?
text you.
Oh,
Emergency? Are you okay? Some of my clients will text me at like midnight, 11 o'clock, 9
Really?
o'clock, 9 o'clock even. I'm laying in bed. You know, I got kids.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just
Right.
like, hey, or is everything cool? Oh, yeah, just wanted to talk. Cool. Hit me up anytime tomorrow. I'm all yours.
oh. I don't know if you sent me that back. I'd be a little insulted.
You would?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, if that was the verbiage you were going to use, I'd be like, oh god.
Chris wants his
Chris, are
Outback
you drunk right now?
contract. Chris wants that Outback contest to go down.
The Outback.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
I was
It's-
testing him.
Does he
I was
want
testing him.
instant scoring? I forgot to ask you that.
Oh.
Are we doing a live webcast or TV deal?
Maybe we'll film it and then Roger can edit it and we'll
Okay.
put out the
Straight to
edit.
DVD.
Yeah,
Live
straight
web-
to DVD.
Live webcast will cost you about $100,000. Just so think about
Wow.
that.
Wow.
Okay. So
Yeah.
if we wanted
that's
to do,
cheap. That's probably cheap. That we don't even do that.
We'll
but it's
just do
like-
we'll do Facebook
Yeah.
Live or we'll do Instagram Live.
Oh, that
That's
sounds
cheaper.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Well,
Yeah.
ask
You can
all the
host it. Hey.
audience.
Yeah, we'll just do. Yeah, it'd be great, man. Never been done.
No,
before.
never been done.
Right.
It sounds like you get a lot of viewers. Yeah.
I mean, you know, if hey, maybe some followers too.
Live contest in the Outback.
On Instagram and Facebook Live. Roger could do the Facebook. I'll do the Instagram. Kelly can. I don't know. I don't know what Kelly can do.
I'll do something. I don't
can
know.
judge.
I can judge. I'm
Yeah,
a judge,
of course.
Chris.
Head judge.
Oh yeah, for free.
Hey, you fly me out there, I'm down.
We're already
He
fucking.
wants 5%.
Always, he wants 5%. So okay, let's go back to the Tampa's popping off, and you guys are killing it. Seems like, right?
I mean, I think relatively, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Like, I feel like it still probably is the most successful skate park in existence
Great.
ever of
Yeah.
all time. I mean, it has to be.
And
you
it's the
know,
most
that
known contest too. It's
most
like
known park,
fucking-
most known, and it's like you still get the real feel when you go there.
Oh, yeah.
you still get.
Oh, yeah.
like wow, skaters run this, and it's got a cool thing going. And
Right.
you know, I think the first time people go there, they don't realize how small the course is.
It's tiny.
Yeah.
Whoa, this is.
It's not tiny, but
It's pretty small.
It's small.
Yeah.
But that's why I think it always looks good. Always look good, relatively good in photos. And I
Yeah.
think it looks good on the web, and you know, just because of the small size.
Yeah.
Right.
It makes it just look exciting, and that's why everyone's cheering. You're right there. You're high five. There's something special about that.
Totally.
Right? Especially
Yeah.
when you're way back then. The contests that were the other pro contests, X Games and Gravity
Oh,
Games.
God.
I mean, just
Yeah.
like. Of course, everyone came to Tampa and were like, "You guys are the best shit we've ever
Of
seen."
course,
It's
right.
like, yeah, of course it is, because look at what you're competing against.
So that's so how long did you but you're not with Skate
No,
Park
I'm
Tampa
not there
anymore.
anymore. I was there 15 years.
15 years.
98 to 2013.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
So how did you parted ways?
Yeah.
What
I mean,
was
that's
the-
one way to
what-
put it.
Oh.
You know?
Well, why'd you leave?
I'm going to tiptoe around this.
Yeah, of course.
You know?
Of course.
But I
Right.
went into work on, I think it was January 1st, 2013. Yeah, so 4 years ago.
Okay.
4.5 years ago.
Seems like it was just
January 2nd, took the
Okay.
first off, you know?
Oh.
And I was told my services were no longer needed.
Really?
Turn in my keys, turn in my credit cards, just like, you're good to go.
I mean, you've helped
I
But
was
you were
like-
a partner, though, right?
I was a partner in Spot Productions, an employee of Skate Park of Tampa. So
Wow.
you can fire me from that because I
Okay.
just worked there. And then I own part of the property, which I actually still do.
Okay. Oh
Yeah.
wow. So you still okay?
Yeah, I still own it. I'm still like waving the flag on the side, you
Yeah.
know, wishing for success. You
Right,
know?
right,
But I mean,
right.
of course, I'm still doing that because just from skateboarding in
Okay.
general, like it's hard to not be a fan of
course.
what that is all about, what
Yeah.
it stands for.
So there was never any talks about you getting partnership, and I mean, it seems like you were helping out, doing all these great things for Skate Park of Tampa, right? There was never talks of like, hey, we're going to cut you in, and we're going to do great things. I mean,
There
if
were.
you're doing all this great stuff, how do you know how much you're worth and how much you're getting paid?
There were talks about it at different
Okay.
times, and there was an offer to buy some at one time, from what I remember. But I just didn't. I was fairly compensated.
Yeah. Okay.
I was
so
never,
you were happy.
No, I was
and-
totally
yeah.
happy with what I
Okay,
made. I was
okay.
completely fairly compensated. Over the years, as we grew, my salary grew.
Okay.
You know, so that part I really had no problem with that.
Oh.
And in hindsight, the way it all shook down, I think that it would have it would have really complicated things. It would have
right.
really
Okay.
complicated things. It's probably better.
So obviously,
long-term.
I mean, you got fired.
I mean, I guess I wasn't doing that good of a job.
I guess not.
You know?
Wow.
Um,
No, but I mean, you guys must have had a little disagreements or something.
yeah, I mean, I think that
Budget
like
cuts.
I think
yeah.
you know, I don't want to. My opinion, the way I kind of view it was like there were things said to me over the years that were fuck. This is so hard to say without throwing anyone under the bus because I don't want to do that.
Of
but I
course.
can say that like I don't think Brian I just don't think he appreciated working with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he thought no one else appreciated working with me, maybe.
Okay.
And that it would be better if I was gone. And maybe for him, it is better than I'm gone.
Right.
You know? So, yeah, it was, but it was kind of shocking. It was definitely shocking when I was like, oh, okay, today? Like, we're not going to talk about it? Or
no
like
2 weeks notice or no fucking,
well, especially because like you're talking about a 25-year friendship too. So that part of it is like, okay. I mean, you know, of course the final year that I worked there was pretty rough and rocky and a lot of, and I knew something was up, but I didn't think that was even possible because I was the lead of all of the companies. You know? I was the lead of it. I mean, I led it all. So it's like, I was just like, okay. I was kind of in shock, and in some ways I was kind of relieved because the relationship was very strained. Okay. So in some ways I was like, all right, I'm going to figure this out.
First off, I'm a big fan of Skate Park at Tampa.
Yeah.
And so thank you for what you did because I grew up watching
thanks,
that.
Man. Yeah.
You and Brian Schaefer, really. For real.
Yeah.
I was going to say that it seems like that you two basically are leaders when it comes down to it. Like you're doing your thing now and he's doing his thing now. Do you think it was weird that two leaders like you are doing the same thing together?
Our skill sets are different, but yeah, for sure. Like you can't have two of the same exact thing. Maybe that's part of it. But I felt like if I had someone that worked for me, that the way I worked for him, I would be like, hey man,
Keep
go
going.
make me money, kill it. Here's your freedom. I'm going to go work on this since I have free time. That's my mentality because I am looking for people to take my duties away from me all the time.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, we have
you can't do everything.
10 people that work at the Boardr 11, and I'm like, anyone that wants to take some of this shit off my plate, take it.
How do you trust somebody from taking your shit off your plate?
It just takes a really long time.
Yeah.
Really, really long time.
Right.
You know?
Are you a micromanager?
No. You can't be.
In the beginning, though, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
When you're delegating stuff.
When I was in my 20s, I was. Because you just don't know. It's like
you got to edge this lawn a little bit nicer.
Of course, man. Because you don't know. You're young and you just think you have to control everything. Yes. But no, I've learned to not. I try not.
Okay,
if
somebody's taking your duty from you right now, but will you micromanage them in the beginning and be like making sure they're doing that what you were doing first, doing it correctly?
Well, they're just meetings. They're meetings now. You just meetings, follow-ups, catch-ups, updates, that sort of thing. I try to just I'm real conscious of what type of manager and leader I am. Yeah. Very conscious of it. I mean, I read books about it. I try to be a certain way. I try to be very consistent. Away from work, I do not act like the boss ever. Right. Like I take a lot of pride in, if you're skating my house with me, like I'm getting you a beer. I'm cooking you dinner. I'm ordering pizza and paying for it for you when you're at my house if you work for me. Like you're not, you don't feel like you're my employee when you come hang out with me outside of work.
That's weird.
Yeah.
It's just lame.
It is, but people are like that. There's people like that.
Yeah.
You see that all the time where you're just like, bosses bossing people around outside of work. You're like, that's whack.
Yeah. Seriously.
You know? If we want to pull it back to like skate park, then we had Spot Productions that also ran Damn Am, and that turned into like a valuable property at that time. Oh. And obviously look at what Damn Am's doing now. I mean, it's
huge. Yeah.
Right.
It's great.
So that was part of the complications of the breakup.
Okay.
And then you had the management that I started doing on the side while I was there still that complicated just
managing skateboarders.
At the time, we were just doing what we call business management.
Okay.
And business management to us, we define that as like...
Was that Excel management?
It is. And it's still the same company.
Oh,
yeah.
It's still around.
Yeah. Same company, yep. Collecting checks, paying bills, making sure the guys have health insurance, making sure they're leasing or buying a car, getting them the right rate on buying a house, setting up 401ks, incorporating them when they need it, paying on the payroll.
Money wisely.
Trying to advise them to spend money wisely.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So you're just there putting them on budgets. You know, if they have an excess of money, you know, just figuring out what to do with it.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
We'll get into the Boardr's next, but I want to go back to Skate Park at Tampa real quick.
Yeah.
When they did the ETN broadcast, would you have done that?
I don't know. You know, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe I would have at the time. I would I with my knowledge now? I'm not sure. You know, first the deal they signed was with Street League, but I believe that like really elevated what they were doing. They probably would have had a hard time without that. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
You know?
Without Street League.
Without Street League coming in. You know? And then I think Paul Zitzer going in there you know, behind the scenes really made a big difference as well too. And he picked up a lot of slack probably the stuff that I was doing.
I think the whole ATN thing was just a surprise to a lot of people.
It was for sure.
Yeah.
You know, because we were like, oh, great, fucking Tampa's coming up. And then all of a sudden, like, I got to pay for this?
But
especially Tampa Pro.
Yeah.
Well, you know how, like, I deal with this all the time because, well, us as skateboarders, we want everything for free, right? When was the last time you paid for any product?
I buy stuff every now and then because I understand that people need to survive somehow, so I'm going to support somebody a little bit, but not skateboarders don't think like that.
Right. So if I go into a skate shop, right, and if I'm on tour or whatever, and I know other skaters that, you know, are on tour too that do this, they'll want to buy the grip tape, or they'll want to buy the wax or the
There's
shirt.
some dudes who go in there and get pissed off when they don't get the grip tape for free.
That's right. But you know, you got to. I want to support. Like if I need some bearings or something, like if I can't trade something, maybe like of course I'll pay for it. You know, I don't expect it for free. You know, it's my. I feel like you know, that's what your sponsors are supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
Not a skate shop that you just go into. You know, they have no obligation to give you anything.
No, not at all.
You know, great, you're pro, like whatever.
So I think that there's a point where things have to be charged for to be sustainable.
Of course.
So we're going through that same thing right now with Vans Park Series. You know, last year was the global qualifiers. This year we have the Continental Championships and Nationals. The Continentals we're charging for. Well, different markets around the world, we don't charge for contests here. And I would give examples of Dam Am globally and say, look, man, over these years, or Tampa Am, we trained the customer to understand that we have to have this money to put this event on.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a matter of like the mentality. Think about your own kids. Like my kids do stuff and I have to pay for it.
Okay.
Why should skateboarding just be free?
Yeah.
That's kind of how I look at it. It's the same with like we grew up on product tosses.
Of course.
We don't do that anymore. It's just one of those things of how long are you just throw shit out to people?
Yeah.
Like I just feel like skateboarding is it just doesn't need that. It's not necessary. That's all.
So do you agree? So you are you a fan of like the ETN platform and what they're doing
sure.
over there?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think. Well, weren't we just talking about how it's just bullshit? Scrolling through just bullshit, and you just it's so much stuff you forget about it. So maybe something can elevate to a higher platform.
Okay.
And it can be really good and high quality and something you want to see. And I mean, I thought that downhill thing was cool. I mean, how often do you see like Nuge do something?
Jeez.
I was like, no, I mean, not Nuge does stuff all the time, right?
Course.
But you don't see it. I don't mean it like that.
For sure.
In that in that capacity, you don't see him,
or you don't see really anybody like Raven pushing into a hill.
How cool,
you know?
Right?
Jesus Christ! I was nervous watching it. I
get to see Raven every Vans Park Series, which is probably one of the best things to see. It is
and
like,
scariest
He's
things.
incredible.
It's incredible.
It is incredible. It really is.
Jeez.
He's one of my favorites by far.
Yeah. So the ETN is so you're a fan of that
Yeah, I'm a
platform.
fan
I mean,
of
because
it.
like you understand the business side of like putting out content, and nowadays the sponsorships too is tanking, right? I mean, there's not a lot of sponsors out there that want to put up the kind of money that was.
Well, they want to own their own platform. Everyone wants to own their own thing, right? So take a look at like Red Bull Heartlines.
Yeah.
The Red Bull's not going to give money to do an event like that.
Oh,
but they're
they
going to
could do their own shit.
They're going to own their own.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you do you remember Adidas Skate Copa?
Of course.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you know, I don't know if you know, we created that. The whole thing, you know, from top to bottom, and did that. But they owned it.
Yeah.
So they were like, hey, we want to do something. Do you have any ideas? We're thinking this. And we're like, we've been sitting on this idea for a long time and we want to do this. But they own it. They're willing to pay for it, but they own it. Vans Park Series is the same way. They own it. So, you know, I think there's money out there to do events.
But these are big companies, though.
Huge.
These are big companies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, there's no.
So if it's a startup company, or I mean, like us, for example, like I mean, how do we go about doing something for free, except like what we're doing now, like putting it on YouTube
well, now you're creating, but you guys are creating value because you got a fan base. You're putting out something good. You have to nowadays. It's like you have to create value first before you're just. You're not going to just get the money.
Right.
It doesn't work like that.
Right.
You know,
we create an audience.
That's a millennial that thinks that.
Well, so not that we would do this, but what would you think if like all of a sudden like, well, maybe not all of a sudden. Okay, so if all of a sudden we started charging for this show. You know what I mean? There might be a backlash, or there might be.
There could be, but
we've already established something.
If it's good enough that you have to see it, you make it so good that you have to see it, then it's worth paying for.
Right. Or we did like another show, a spin-off or whatever, and charged like.
Or you got a piece of it, but if you want to see the whole thing, you know, you paid a fee, something like that.
Right.
But yeah, I believe that there's Yeah, sure. How else are you going to generate revenue? What, are you going to just do this for free for the rest of your life?
Well, that's the thing.
Or maybe
too,
you will.
You know?
But obviously, we all work in skateboarding because we love it. I'm getting so business here with you guys.
No, I love it. I love it.
First and foremost, we love it. So, my motto, my personal motto, and the motto I have in my businesses is, 1, do cool shit in skateboarding.
Yeah.
2, try to make money doing it.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's that's it. It's like, but what do we do with the money we make? Good shit, right?
Do more good shit.
Buy cars, fucking go to on trips, all kinds of cool
Apple
stuff.
Watch.
Apple Watches.
Like for us, we have I'll pat myself on the back. At our building, we have a TF that's free Monday through Friday, 12 to 5.
For anybody to
It
come.
looks really fun, by the way.
And it is really fun. You have to come by.
I would definitely.
You have to come by.
I would love to.
Charge Kelly. Though.
Right.
I'll pay. I will definitely pay to skate there.
So we take our money.
Yeah.
We don't have to be in a warehouse. We could be in an office building.
That's true.
So, but we choose to be in a warehouse.
Okay.
And then like building stuff in my driveway to create. And then I do an event in my driveway where I give money to kids to do tricks, like whatever, So you just take.
But you're building
what
like a community too.
You build a community.
Yeah.
You do build a community. Yeah. We in my neighborhood, there's 3 things to skate that are like old guy friendly. Like my driveway, there's a cement bowl that's a mile away, and there's another mini ramp half mile away in my neighborhood.
Okay.
So I feel like that when me setting the tone and building the driveway gets other old guys to be like, I can do this.
Yeah.
Build my own shit.
Right.
And that's cool. It does create a community.
Yeah.
So that whole give back of so you make money, yes.
Yeah.
But you turn around and do good shit with it.
Right. Right.
Like we bought we had a good year after the first Adidas Skate Copa year. We bought a bus, so we had like
sick.
a 37-foot bus with that's like a full contest kit in it. Speaker, sound, everything you need, and you obviously can live in it too.
Seriously,
and just go contest to contest. They go to New York and do Boardr and Harold Hunter Day, then to Knoxville for a Grind for Life, then Houston, then out here. I mean, it's just like
What's the craziest thing that's ever happened on the bus?
no, I'm not. We compete in the company. We have the flight crew and the road crew. I'm the flight crew. I'm the flight crew. Yeah, I fly into the events.
Of course you are, right?
Yeah.
Not only that, you got a lot of other shit going on too.
You're probably one of the busiest guys in skateboarding.
I mean, Jesus Christ, you
I
got a lot.
Maybe I kind of asked for it though. I mean, it's my personality.
Well, I
style.
feel like you're a workaholic. I get that vibe.
I used to be, I think, a workaholic, but then when you have kids, you can't be.
That's
if you
true.
want to stay married and stuff,
Right,
which I do.
Yeah.
Okay. Just make sure in case she's not going to watch this. She will never. She's like, she doesn't even ask me what I do at this point. She's like, where are you going?
Really?
Oh, you go. No, she's just total. We have a great relationship.
Okay.
She's just like, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm just going to Mark Gonzalez art show. She's like, oh, that's cool. And then I'm flying to Malmo on Saturday. She's like, when are you coming back? I'm like, I'll be back on the night before Memorial Day. She's like, great. Can't wait to spend Memorial Day with you.
Wow.
I got a great wife.
That's awesome.
She's
perfect.
Yeah, definitely. She's. I had a practice wife before.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
You had a practice, and it didn't go so well.
Yeah.
Huh?
Nah. Part of it was like, part of it's me. I didn't know how to be a good husband, and at the same time, I don't think she appreciated what I did.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Was this when you were cutting lawns, or was this?
No, it was after that. I was at skate park.
Oh, okay.
She didn't understand
skating.
Oh my god!
A lot of hey man, listen. A lot of women don't understand the skate world.
Yeah.
They think we're going off and playing with our friends.
Right.
And it's like, I always say like, we are, but at the same time, it's like, we go to the skate park. It's like we're practice. Like if Kobe Bryant never went to the gym. How is he going to win? How is he going to be Kobe Bryant if he never went to the gym?
It just happens to be that
practice.
Our practice and training is really fun.
Exactly.
That's the difference. But if you want to be at the top of your game, you have to do it. And look at the health now. Look at the way the guys take care of themselves and the way they eat and the way they train and the strength training and all that. I mean, it's like it's a big deal.
It is. Yeah.
If you want to be the best, the next generation coming up is gonna be fucking crazy.
It's gonna be gnarly for sure.
It really is, man. It really is. Those kids are coming up training. But back to me working to a workhorse. Yeah, I used to be, but I'm an overachiever.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. Something to prove. And I have something to always feel like and I got reignited when all that went down at skate park. So I'm like, now I really have something to prove.
Right.
And I said this before we got on the air. It's like, I had more friends on the way down than I did on the way up. So I was like, that built my confidence on the way out. Because at first it was like shattered. You're confident, like, wait, I'm not wanted. I'm like, I don't not wanted here. Fuck, this sucks,
Right.
But then it got built right back up, and then I found my groove, and our businesses have really found the groove in the last year. Like we know where we're going and how it's all shaping up and everything.
So when you left Tampa, how long?
You can say I got fired. I'm okay with that.
When you
when you got
the shaft, when you got fired. How long did it take you to form this new company, the Boardr?
That took like 6 or 8 months because Rob Marinick was still there. And I started doing kind of the same thing, but I did it with CA Productions, the guys that do like, they currently do like X Games and do tour and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I was working with those guys a little bit, contracting for them. Then I did Copenhagen under that, and I did like Kimberly Diamond Cup under that.
Okay.
And Rob was still at skate park, and I hit him up a couple times like, man, you should quit, come work with me. He asked, well, what are we going to do? I was like, I don't know what we're going to do yet, but I have a lot of opportunity. I just haven't figured it out. It's kind of the same thing we're already doing, but maybe more specialized. So he said, I'm giving it 6 months. I'm just going to see how it goes. I'm committed. Anyway, I mean, man, Rob is the most passive, smartest, hardworking. He's like the best guy. Like I trust Rob with everything of mine. Like he's the best dude. And like, we actually live in the same neighborhood. The wives are friends. The kids are friends. Like the whole, it's like, it's very
perfect
intertwined.
Yeah. Got your own Mayberry over there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And George that works with us lives on the same street. And George Angel lives in the same area as well. Like the same neighborhood, not just the same area.
So it took 6 to 8 months to.
So and things were, I mean, it was hard for me. It was hard for skate park. There was all like the break. How's everything going to be split? And it was really messy. And there was attorneys involved, and it's just real messy. It's complicated, and of course we're all emotionally driven because we love this shit. We love it. And
I mean,
of course,
it was 15 years of your life. Yeah,
I committed my life to it, and Rob was there for 12, and Brian founded it. So of course he's passionate about. So we're all just like not seeing eye to eye, of course.
Right.
And then I think it got really awkward. It got really uncomfortable. I think at one point, Rob he's never told me this, but I just figured he had enough. And that's when he put his notice in. He told me right when it happened, he's like, I'm giving it 6 months. I'm not quitting. I'm committed to this. And then 6 months to the day, he texted me. He's like, can I come over? I was like, yeah, sure. Comes over, knocks on my door. He's like, put my notice in. I was like, fuck yeah. And we were still working on my kitchen table. Me and George every morning. 9 o'clock kitchen table, and we were working. We were just trying to make it happen.
What were you working
brainstorming?
on? Just other.
Well, we had the management company still, which was really, really small at the time, which I was operating on the side. Okay. So, I was doing that, and so we had a few clients. And we're just managing that and trying to get more clients and trying to figure out what we're going to do. And I had so many people just to talk to and figure it out. And I had job offers and a couple different things that I could have done, and really nice, generous people. And I got so many replies back and so many phone calls. It was just I just gained the confidence to go like, fuck, And there's a few people, and I was thinking about this. I want to call it out because there's a few people that make these big differences in your life. And I have a couple people that.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. A couple people that really did, and things they said to me. One is Jim Thiebaud, which
everyone
who doesn't?
This guy's fucking name gets brought up in every episode.
But
he's the best.
The things he said to me and the way he broke it down, I was like, man, he is so right that we are the ones that should be doing this. The skaters should be doing this. We should be the ones taking the reins of the people that shouldn't be in our business.
Right. Yeah.
And that was hugely motivating to me, and that he believed in me.
Yeah.
First of all, that he could have just shunned me and been like, that dude got fired, just some other guy that works somewhere, whatever. I'm never going to talk to him again.
Wow.
But it was very genuine, very genuine. And then Heath Brinkley was another dude.
Heath.
Yeah. Heath is just like, you have this knowledge, you can do this, you need to go for it. You're better than anyone at it. And that kind of thing, when you hear it, like your parents tell you when you're 4 years old, but whatever.
You're the greatest,
Yeah.
But when someone tells you that,
still
when
tell
you're,
me that.
Yeah, they're right. They're right. I agree with them.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
But they didn't need to tell you that. That's what you're meaning by that.
That's what I mean.
Of course, yes.
Right.
They didn't have to, but you did have that quality in you, and they let you know.
Right. When you might think you have it, but you're not totally confident. But you're like, maybe I could do this, or you don't have the balls to step into something that you're not, because you when you start something new, which we were in the management business already, but we started being aggressive about it. And then we're running more and more events. Of course, we're stepping on people's toes. Someone had a contract. They don't have the contract anymore. We do. So you're going to, that having that confidence to go like, hey man, that's just the way it goes. Like, don't take it personally. So now I'm confident in that manner, not confident and like cocky, but just confident and humble.
You have to be,
where I'm like, hey, there's a reason people are calling us.
Yeah.
Because you do a great job.
We can get the job done.
We can
get the job done. Yeah.
People call us every day to sit there,
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I think
know.
we're doing something right.
You guys are doing something right.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many shows you got lined up?
What, after you?
Yeah.
None.
Day by day, week by week.
We actually really fly off the seat of our pants, dude.
Yeah.
I love it. That's authentic.
Yeah.
But you know what? It works out every fucking week. It's
You're
crazy.
picking the right people.
You know? Not only that, but I mean, we want skateboarders and skateboarding. I mean, we want everybody sitting there. You know?
guys
It's just, it's hard it's like,
You guys ever think about the fact that you're recording like an oral history of skateboarding? Like it's kind of rad in that way. You're really like going deep. You're asking me who fucking cares when I started skating, but now it's on tape of
of course,
when I
right.
started skating. I mean, you can find that out about someone. That's kind of a big deal.
Right.
You know, we've done some work with the Smithsonian. They always talk about that kind of thing.
I want to ask you about that.
Okay.
Inniskate, right?
Inniskate, yeah.
Yeah,
What's the deal with Inniskate?
I got hit up by Josh Freeberg, right when I started, when I was on my own immediately.
Okay.
And he's like, hey, we want to do an event that has to do with innovation in skateboarding with the Smithsonian, and we'd like your help. I was like, cool.
He had already been in talks with the Smithsonian?
Yeah, the Smithsonian, and learning about them and the way that I've never been. So I went up there for a site visit.
Okay.
To kind of
How
figure
did
out
Josh
what
get
we're
involved with all that?
do.
Through the Olympic Committee?
No, through the IASC.
Okay.
When he was the executive director of
IASC.
IASC. Yeah. So they knew they needed to study skateboarding because they study anything that is America.
Okay.
You know, they study, the Museum of American History studies that, and there's the Lemelson Center is a center within there that studies innovation.
Oh.
Obviously, of all people, skateboarders are extremely innovative.
Yeah.
And we don't. I didn't really even realize that until I started being around these scholars. And you want to feel like the dumbest person in the room. Go to the Smithsonian.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I went there, they just had a meeting where I just sat and talked about skateboarding with these people to go. But I was there to like look at the site for the event, tell them what we needed to build and how it was all going to work. But at the same time, they just picked my brain on how a skateboarder operates, and it was the coolest conversation to speak to people that understood skateboarding but knew nothing about it because they're scholars. They know how to study things.
Yeah.
That's what they do. They're all have doctorates and masters, and they're like all these specialists in these different things. And so we got to do all the behind the scenes tours. And this one guy, Dr. Brody, who we were all like really good friends now. I'm friends with all these people now. Yeah. And he's like, what do you like? And I'm like, well, I like cars. So we go through the car exhibit. I'm like, oh, I like the Star Spangled Banner. I want to see that exhibit. So he brings me into that exhibit, and he's giving me this super detailed breakdown of the flag. And I was like, how do you know? What, were you here when they did this exhibit or something? He's like, no, I created this exhibit. It was a 5-year project of mine. It was the biggest thing I've ever done in my life. And then he wrote a book on it, and then he signed the book and gave me a copy of the book. So it's like, it was been a amazing experience working with them to be around that. So it basically is the study of innovation in skateboarding. So there will be panels.
Okay.
With like, we've had everyone from Rodney Mullen and Tony Hawk, Paul Schmidt does them. I'm like a recurring guy. I do them. I talk about innovation and tricks, and I'll have guys do like, we'll put them on different boards from different decades.
Oh, wow.
So give someone a board from the 70s and ask them to do a 180, or a 180. I always make them do a 180 ollie on a board from the 80s with no nose. Yeah. Do a 180 ollie, and everyone just front foot comes off. And David Lloyd ate shit on one time. I was like, I felt bad. I was like, did you break your wrist again? Thinking like, he's like, I just cut my hand open.
Wow.
But yeah, we've done them in DC, Seattle, the Carolinas, Boston. We did one at MIT.
Really?
You want to feel really dumb?
Seriously?
Go to MIT. Yeah, that was an experience.
No.
Yeah.
way.
So now we're talking about doing one in San Francisco.
So you guys like set up a whole. I mean, you guys were skating in the Smithsonian.
Yeah.
That's insane.
They did let us roll around. Unfortunately, I can't do a flat ground trick, so I did a nose manual in front of the Star Spangled Banner. Yeah. But yeah, and then we had a mini ramp out front.
Okay.
And it was quite an experience.
So is it any of this online, the Smithsonian stuff that you can
there's
go watch?
some ride channel edits that we did.
Okay.
Yeah, stuff like that.
None of the panel stuff is online?
Yeah, you can Google the panels and you can sit and listen to Rodney Mullen talk, and you'll hang on to every word.
Really?
Yeah, try to get Rodney in here.
I would love to.
That would be.
Please,
Dude, talking to him, it's like this. I didn't understand most of what he's talking about. And then he got around the people at MIT, and it was like on.
Wow.
Just nerd
it
fest?
was really on. Yeah.
I feel like that's how I would be.
I checked out.
If I went to MIT, it would be on, Yeah.
You tell them about your switch flip manual,
Definitely.
Chris?
I do
Break it all down?
Yeah, I do a pie chart of the
full
switch flip
breakdown.
manual.
The full breakdown.
Switch flip manual pie chart.
Yeah, exactly.
So now with the Boardr stuff, now you guys have your hands on a lot of things on the Boardr.
Yeah.
You know, you're doing these contests all over.
How many events do you guys do a year?
Like 30.
Damn.
But a lot of small grassroots.
Right.
We do this thing called Grind for Life with Mike Rodgers, and we operate like 11 events, and they're very small time. You know, you pull up the morning of, you set everything up, you tear it down at the end of the day, and you go on to the next one. So when you think of an event, it doesn't mean it's like a world class.
Yeah, I mean like the wheelie dope at the courthouse. It's like a one day.
Simple.
Yeah, simple.
Yeah, very simple.
Right.
You get there at 7 in the morning, and 4 o'clock you're packing up. You know,
Exactly.
so
Yeah, but still, is that preparation until that day?
a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah, a lot of prep hours ahead of time. Yeah, especially the Vans Park Series. I feel like we work for the Vans Park Series like constant. It's very constant. It's a constant, because you're dealing with all these global markets, and you have to explain things to people in different places.
Right.
Yeah.
When you're going out and looking for sponsorship for all this stuff, how does that work? I mean, how do you?
It's hard.
It's hard. I mean, do you ever like come up short and have to come out of your own pocket to pay for some of this shit?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, you do.
The Boardr Am Series. Yeah, it loses money.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
We do it because we want to do an Am Series.
Now, why does
We
it
feel
lose
like
money? You just can't get the sponsorship, or
You just
how
can't
does that?
get it. No.
Really?
So we take money we make on other stuff and put it towards that.
How do you say to a company like, hey, this is exposure. This is how much. If you give us 50, like how does that?
Man,
I mean,
they just don't.
It's
you can put together the fanciest deck and have all the stats and
Right.
tell them they're going to get this many views and whatever, and they're like, we're just going to put our money in this. We're doing this art show instead. We're going to do that.
Yeah.
Or we're doing our own event, or we're doing this thing where we're inviting all the, you could talk to a brand and they're, we're just going to do a wear test instead, and we're going to spend 20 grand on that, and fly all the stores in and get them in the shoes, and that happens.
Yeah, because I guess all you're offering them is, if you're doing like a webcast, maybe like a commercial in the thing, or banners everywhere, or
some of them will do it because they know you're doing something good for skateboarding in general.
Yeah.
With like Grind for Life, people know we're going to towns that would not normally have a contest,
Right.
getting kids to skate from, the divisions are 9 and under up to like 50 and up.
Wow.
So we have grown old men skating in these things. Like Mark
Sick.
Lake still skates in them.
That's awesome.
Oh.
Yeah. So they appreciate that, and they'll pay based on that.
Okay, so you're doing all the content, but you manage people.
Yeah.
You manage skateboarders.
Yeah. So we started that, just from, how I was talking about earlier, just understanding business over the years, learning about, accounts payable, accounts receivable, balancing budgets, just making a small business work. I was just around that my whole life, from the time I graduated high school. So I just saw skaters not knowing how to do stuff, how do I get health insurance?
Yeah, it's hard.
When do your taxes due? How do you pay your taxes? And
Right.
just that sort of thing. And I think it started with Heath Brinkley when he was the TM of, I think, DC, and Malto and those dudes were in Tampa, and Malto had just done the Gatorade deal.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, hey, how did you get advised? Because I had just done the Gatorade deal for Skate Park of Tampa.
Oh, okay,
so
yeah.
we talked, and he told me what he got, and I was like, who advised you? On that, like, and then it kind of clicked. I was like, man, people aren't. But I didn't get into repping skaters while I worked at skate park because of that. Because I didn't want to fuck up any deals we had.
Okay.
I didn't want to piss off someone at Red Bull and then lose a deal while at skate park. That just didn't work. But then what? Heath and I started talking about this, and he told me, he's like, P-Rod has this company that like collects his checks and pays his bills, and he's not happy with them.
Oh.
So Paul called me, and he goes, here's what they do. Do you want to do it? And I went, well, let me think about it. And I kind of made a bunch of notes and kind of figured how long it would take.
This is before.
I was still at skate park. This is
this is a long.
I was still there. And
right.
And I just was like, yeah, I can do that for way less because my costs are less. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a CPA. Well, I already have an office established.
Right.
And then what we did was, at skate park, I brought that into it, and we hired a secretary, and the secretary, like, I paid portion of the secretary or account, admin secretary. My wife would kill me if she heard me say secretary. That's why she's not watching this. Admin, yeah, admin. Sorry, yeah. She's like, no, secretary, disrespectful. Like, sorry, okay.
Man.
We hired an admin person that started kind of handling that, and I would oversee it. So we just started to develop these operating systems inside the company on how to handle that sort of thing. So we had one client, and we had two, and like, we should do it like this too. And we just developed it over the years. And since then, Rob's written software for us too.
Oh, really?
Like, dude, we're so efficient. It's just so, that's how we can manage. We have like 20 some clients that we're managing, and I can go in at any time in our private database and just go find anything out, and there's all tasks set up, and you can't forget things. It's like amazing what he's
really
created. Yeah.
Is Rob all self-taught?
Yeah. He worked
That's
at,
incredible.
he was like the CFO of a tech company during the tech like
Really?
uptick. Yeah. And so then he didn't enjoy being a CFO anymore, taught himself programming and went into the programming department.
It's incredible.
And then the company went out of business, during when the dot-com bust.
Yeah.
And so that's when Rob didn't have a job. I was like, come work at skate park. He goes, I don't know. What am I going to do? Write the website? And after I do that, what am I going to do? I'm like, well, you'll figure it out. And then 12 years later.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you manage? I mean, like, does a skater? You get the deals for them, right?
Well, that's completely different. So Paul, Paul, I've never done that for Paul.
Okay.
No. So with Paul, it's just managing his money and that's
Okay.
it.
Right.
And or like, oh, you need new insurance for your car. Oh, you're going to lease a car? Well, let's lease it under your company. Or you're going to buy one? Let's just buy this and pay it off because you don't need any debt right now.
So you know how to do all that.
Just the juggling of that sort of thing. So then we got
the headache stuff. The shit that
dude,
gives you a fucking headache.
Who wants to deal with that?
Not me.
No one wants to deal with that. But we've managed to get very efficient and good at it. You know, and I feel like I have like the common sense to tell someone what to do, and it's a very old school mentality and of just paying shit off, minimal debt. I mean, that doesn't mean everyone listens to me, but it just means that I can put you on a budget. We can, if you want to get your shit together, we can get your shit together.
You have Paul on budget?
Oh yeah, all the guys are on budget. It doesn't mean they can't break it.
Yeah.
So it just means that hey, when you get to this point, like every month we'll take a certain amount of dollars and put it on your ATM card. So then when you start to get low, I blew that much money. Oh, I blew $1,000. Okay.
Right.
But then we give them a credit card for business. So anytime they're doing business, they're supposed to put it on their credit card.
Now you set all this shit up for them?
All of it.
Really?
100%, yeah. Keep it all in QuickBooks, work with the CPA to get their taxes handled, and then, bring in lawyers when we need to, which isn't very often, but once in a while.
Wow.
Yeah, set up retirement
I use
plans
LegalZoom. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, you can. That works.
Right.
Man. Yeah,
I mean,
sure, you can do it. Yeah, that works.
Fuck.
LegalZoom works.
Yeah.
I don't mess with that. When it gets to that point, we just hire a lawyer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Right,
I don't try to. I definitely don't try to.
But I mean,
play
if you
lawyer.
want to set up a corporation or if you want to do like a trademark or what, I mean,
you can do it. You can do it on that.
How would you do it? Lawyer.
We get a lawyer to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just way easier to have, and they can do it very efficiently, very inexpensively, and it's right. And then you can also have them write the operating agreement.
They're going to LegalZoom.
I know. Yeah. Ryan's going to LegalZoom.
The lawyer they hire is going to LegalZoom.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, the lawyer they hire. Right.
Yeah.
Hey, figure this thing out. LegalZoom.
Yeah. No, seriously.
Yeah. So we were doing that, and then when all that went down at skate park, that was mine. So I took it with me, and then it's actually, mine and Heath's. Heath and I started together.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so he's been a silent partner forever, brought a lot of clients on, including Paul.
Oh, rad.
And then, Heath has a lot of long-term relationships, and I think he brought like Austin and a few other dudes in the beginning, and that just turned into, other clients. And who our second client was? This is amazing. Fred Gall.
No.
Paul was our first, and Fred was our second.
That's incredible.
Yeah, he just needed help. He just needed. It's just like, oh yeah, you're looking at me weird. Yeah. Fred
Well,
needed
no,
help.
I could just.
I'd say, yeah.
Fred's like, this is my budget for the bar.
That was my next question. Was like, are you only taking on people who make like an X amount of money a year?
There's
or
a
anything
certain
because
amount, or we can just fix your problem for you. Like if you have an IRS problem. Like we can get you on a plan, and there's guys that we would do it pro bono for like the last 6 months of Fred. It was pro bono.
Okay.
There's guys that get hugely discounted rates. Even if you can't afford us at all, I will hop on the phone with you. I'll give you spreadsheets. I'll help try to teach you how to do it on your own.
Okay.
I mean, we're really here to, like I said, do good shit in skateboarding first,
Right.
and then if there's money, I mean, yeah, we have guys that we charge top dollar.
Why when I asked you to rep us for the 9 Club, why'd you say no?
When did I say no to that?
Multiple times.
Oh, really? Did I say no to that for real? Yeah. That would be the hardest thing.
Why do you think it would be that hard?
You have to do that. This size business, I believe you would have to do that yourself.
What do you mean this size business? You think this is big business here?
No, I'm saying
What do you mean?
it's too small.
Oh, too small.
So if you guys would have to get, if you could get $1,000 from someone, what am I going to get? $100 from you? I can't. I'd rather just teach you how to do it.
It's $100. Good. Everybody loves money.
$100,
right?
man.
Yeah.
$100. Woo. Yeah.
Well,
it cost me $700 to be on the show. I had to fly out here to be on the show.
Well, that's your problem.
Could have been 600. Yeah,
it could have been 600. You could have saved $100. No, so I mean, like with our show, I mean, you just think it's too difficult to go out and get sponsors and do all. I mean, like, how would you
guys have to come up with such a unique approach to get money for this?
Right.
You're going to have to think outside the box, and whatever that is, you're going to have to create that and come up with it. That's the hardest part. But then there you can do it though. There's definitely possible.
Of course.
And you're on the right track by creating the value first. I'm not saying anything that someone just doesn't know.
No, of course. Right.
You know, I think part of the reason that we've been successful with what we do is we answer emails, we answer the phone, we get up earlier than other people. We just do the shit that no one wants to do.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a
seriously.
huge,
Right.
you know, like, what do you get in skateboarding? No replies.
Yeah,
you know,
of course.
Like, I don't want to do that. I change plans. I mean, I deal with
Right.
pros all the time that are like, yeah, I can't make it today at 12. I'm like, it's fucking 12. You could go to bed at 5 and make it here by 12.
Seriously,
You know?
Wow.
If you can't get to work by the time the rest of the world is taking lunch, you know? Someone told me that a long time ago. It's like so true.
Yeah.
You know, by 12, I'm thinking about I'm finishing my day up.
So you're managing people's money.
Yeah.
You're
And we just started dipping into like doing their deals because
Doing their deals, right.
Naturally, people would ask us, like, hey, could you're managing their money? Then they're like, hey, can you, Red Bull keeps hitting me up. Can you
Talk to them, yeah.
And then I had learned, well, of course, being a skateboarder, you inherently understand the value of someone. Okay, every pro has a value of what you can make.
Yeah.
And then I was learning what the guys were making via managing their money. So we had, we have everyone from Paul to Fred Gall.
Yeah.
So I understand, not only did I already understand the value of a skater, but I started finding actual hard numbers.
Yeah.
So having that information.
Do you ever get depressed or do you ever get bummed when you're like, this guy's only making this much? It's such a fucking shame.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And sometimes there's nothing
I bet
you
you'd
can
feel
do.
that way if I gave you my statements. I bet you would. No, but I mean,
for sure.
I mean,
Absolutely.
that's
and sometimes there's nothing you can do. And dudes will hit me up and say, hey, can you help me?
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, you make, whatever a month. I could get you 500 more a month, but I would have to charge you 300 a month to get you the 5. Go get it yourself. Like I say that all the time. I think some people are like, oh, you don't have my back. I'm like, no, I actually have your back more because I don't want to take your money.
Yeah.
I've even written emails for people like, hey, hey, should we talk about the Diego thing?
You know what's funny? I've never talked to you about it before.
I know. I guess Don wouldn't let me talk to you because I wanted to talk to you, but then Don stepped in.
That was it was
But what I heard, and and this isn't like a call out because I don't want to bum you out at all, but I heard you said that I was difficult, and I was like, wow, and this is what I was telling you about the other day. I was like, man, I wanted to talk to you about it. And it's a good, hey, why not tell everyone in front of everybody? Yeah. I want to talk to you about it and make you understand why I was being difficult.
Well, I'll say this. I wasn't saying you were difficult. And I'll be completely honest. Mm-hmm. The situation was difficult. So at the same time, I was talking to other people about it.
Yeah.
Like, yo, Mike, what's going on? Other people, no one was giving me answers. I didn't know. I was kind of trying to talk to you, Don.
Don was in the middle.
On the middle. I'm like, I don't know anything.
Well, let's put this into perspective for people.
Okay.
It was Diego was writing for S.
Diego Najera.
Yeah.
Right. He was writing for S, and then you were repping him.
Yeah,
right?
we still do.
You still do.
Yeah.
So then Adidas came into the picture, right?
Well, when he dropped that part with Primitive.
Yeah, that's when
everyone called. Literally, that started calling.
Oh wow!
And it was like, wow.
Nike, Adidas.
I knew it was gonna happen too.
Okay.
And so then I'm in the middle, so I read the full Soltec contract, to get my ducks in a row. I'm like, okay, how? But I didn't, because I didn't do the deal. I just inherited the deal.
Of course, yeah.
So I read it and I'm like, huh. And when you read certain contracts, there's a certain way you have to act or not give information out. And so I was difficult because I wouldn't talk or I wouldn't do what other people wanted me to do. Because think of it like this. And if I was working for you and I was supposed to get you what you wanted, the best deal on whatever company, of course I'm going to be difficult with the company I'm dealing with. So that's why I wanted you to know why I was acting that way. Yeah. Because I'm working for Diego.
Yeah.
So my job there is I'm in his corner.
To get him the best offer.
Right.
Well, so if I'm in your corner.
The thing was that it wasn't just you that was difficult, and Diego was my boy still to this day.
I know.
Diego was difficult.
He's the best.
Diego was difficult.
Because I probably told him not to say anything.
Yes. Diego didn't respond to me. And at that point, I had a lot of things planned going on for that year.
I know.
Let me show you one thing.
Uh-oh, here we go. Shit.
I'm actually glad you brought it because I had shoes planned for him right here. Right here. I had 3 colorways and he was stoked on it until that happened.
Yeah.
No response from him. I had plans to make videos and all these things. I had trips planned.
Yep.
All of it got thrown out the window and I didn't know. And I'm just sitting there.
Yep.
But I told Diego, I'm like, hey, dude, I want the best for you. I would love to know what's going on so I can make my plan for myself going forward with what's going on, because S is tiny.
Yeah, I know. It's for me, that obviously we all look at Soul Tech as like, we all should be probably still wearing Soul Tech, to be honest with you, right?
Sure, yeah.
Because if we were supporting, we should be wearing Lakais and Soul Tech and Huff in all reality, right?
Right.
But we're not. And there's other opportunities out there. Of
course.
So that's why I had to play it a certain way, you know? And it was and I have the utmost respect for Don and everybody there and everything that's been, and you, and like, but you have to play it a certain way.
Of course.
When you're in a position. And I was on the side of the table with Diego.
Yeah.
And that's the way I had to play it to make it work for him. You know, so
I had gotten a little bit of a scoop from someone, just kind of like how to deal with about it, and I was like, I wasn't even really mad. I didn't really have anywhere before. I was kind of like, I didn't have a job or anything.
Right.
And I got hired by Soul Tech, and I worked my ass off, and like, I did all these things, got Trick of the Year, and I turned pro finally, and had all these plans to do this thing, and then that happened, and that was kind of hard on me, but I was like, all right, cool, I'll just, and that was my boy, and no one this. No one really fucked with him before.
You backed him, yeah.
And I was like, fuck, this dude's sick. And then you know, Shane and Paul started messing with him too. And then when his part came out, he blew up, and I was like, I knew it was gonna happen.
It was that morning. Yeah, I was out here, and the phone calls were coming in, and Diego's calling. Actually, Spanish Mike started calling me. He's like, yo, I keep getting calls today. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, oh, send them to me. And then that's how I had to play it. And it sucked because the way the wording was in the contract, I played it a certain way, and I had to. And
in no way I'm not mad at you, dude.
No, I don't think you are. I know we're cool. I know we're good. I know we're good.
Definitely cool.
I know we're good.
But I'm really happy for Diego. That's still my boy. He's fucking on fire. And I think what he did, he proved a lot of people wrong in a certain sense.
Being a little older and making it happen.
Just being. I'll tell you one thing too. Like for me, he was S because there was no one as powerful as a young skater. I was like, this dude's better than everybody.
Yeah,
and he's young,
good.
But
hey, you had a good eye.
Yeah,
I mean, you did.
But he's the man.
It's just one of those things where, like that happens. You piss people off.
Right.
And before we started, I was telling you about someone else I have a ton of respect for that I pissed off, and you're just like, hey, I'm not trying to do that, but I'm on this side of the table right now, and you're on that one. Yeah. And if I was on that side working for you, I would work just as hard for you.
Of course, yeah.
But I'm working for this dude right now, and that's that having an agency, like sometimes you're doing that.
I mean, I guess you feel bad, right?
For sure.
Do you ever
you care about your relationships? Yeah, absolutely.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean,
do you ever feel that? I mean, do you ever feel like you're losing a relationship or something?
Yeah, you feel they go up and down, and then you'll rekindle it, or like something will happen where you work together again, and they're like, "Oh man, you're not that bad."
Right.
I've had people be super critical of what I do, and then they're like, "Hey, you helped so and so get out of IRS debt." I'm like, "Yeah, I did that." And they're like, "You didn't charge them?" I'm like, "No, I didn't charge them. I just did it because we can, and we know how to play that game." And they're like, "Man, that was pretty cool that you did that."
Sick.
That sort of thing where it's not like you get them out of the debt, but you make it to where they aren't getting their money taken out of their bank account.
Wow. I mean, if everybody was coming at Diego, right? Now, Diego, is he choosing like which one he wants to go with, or is he trying to? He
was already kind of dialing in on what direction he wanted to go, but then he had other offers. But then like you can't. In certain contracts, you're not allowed to talk to other people. Yeah. So there was a point where I couldn't talk to anybody. Yeah. And I can't
even on his behalf. You can't.
Right. I don't remember what the Soul Tech contract is exactly because it's been like a year since I read it. But there's certain certain brands you work with that it's that you can't talk about it. That's like the point. So if someone rides for Nike and Adidas calls you. I mean, I learned that lesson by getting called out on it, not knowing it. I mean, it's like a learning experience. Yeah. Someone's like, "Oh, you took a call from Adidas when he rides for Nike. Have you read the And it's like, oh, shit. It's like a learning experience.
My phone rang. I answered the phone.
Yeah. Well, sometimes if you just listen and there's certain ways to get around it.
Yeah, right.
Like, oh, he's in a contract, can't talk about it. You can talk.
Yeah.
I can't talk, though.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So I can play the game and, just have people you can trust.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I have good relationships with everybody. And I think people also know that I don't bullshit you. Right. Like I'm not gonna
straight shooter.
Yeah, and you were talking about earlier, like bringing a kid to a brand, and the brand's like laughing at you, like, "Ha, we would never want him." I kind of already know that. Like we already know. You're not
Right.
going to bring the wrong guy to the wrong brand. It's like,
Yeah.
why would you? Why would I waste your time? It's like, if I had a dude in Tampa that I was like, Kel, you got to flow this dude's shoes. He loves ass. You should trust me.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you
of
should
course.
already know. Like,
Yeah.
I already know.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Right.
and when the brand doesn't believe us, and then
Mm-hmm.
that's happened recently where a brand was like, I don't know about that kid. I'm like, okay. So we got him on something else. And then that brand came back again. It was like, hey, we kind of want him. And I'm like, well, you didn't want him. They were like, we just want to see how bad he wanted to be on. I'm like, well, he's on someone else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever. There's nothing you can do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're negotiating somebody's contract, right? Do you ever feel in the position of like, God, I don't want to fuck this up.
Yeah,
Like,
man.
I don't want
It's
to,
a
like,
ton.
I'm going to, like, this dude's depending on me. Like,
kept
this
me-
is this guy's dream to get on this company. Like, he's
Kept
going
me
to,
up at night. I
like,
know
what if I come back at them and they're like, you know what, forget it. We're just over it.
Oh, you can, because you're doing that fine line. Because I've had guys before that they're not happy with the money, and I'm like, but how much do you want?
Right.
And they're like, more.
Wow.
I'm like, yeah, but you need you have to tell me what I'm fighting for.
Yeah.
You can't just say more,
Right.
because it's not a fair way to go into a negotiation.
Yeah. Of
course.
You know,
Set the bar somewhere.
You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh man, for sure. Like, kept me up at night.
Yeah.
Nervous. Like, psyching myself up for the phone call, because a lot of times the people are really good at it. When you get up to the bigger brands, you know, you're dealing with people that they're not skaters.
Right.
They're just dealing with like some higher up that's like really good at it. Maybe they came from a different sport and now they're working in skateboarding for a little bit or something, and they're really good at it, better than me at it.
Yeah.
So I just have to figure it out. And you can kind of play with things too. You know, like, oh, you're gonna, like, if you know a skater is you can tell what skater's never going to win Skater of the Year, right? You could be
Okay,
the best
right.
dude of all time. You're not going to win Skater of the Year. So they're going to like, oh, we'll give you this much money for Skater of the Year. I'll be like, hey, can we take that money for Skater of the Year and put it on Street League?
Oh.
You know, because I think this dude's going to win Street League.
Right.
I don't think Jake Phelps is going to think he's cool. Right. You know, so
Yeah.
There
you know,
go.
so you can do that kind of thing. Like,
Okay.
you just get smart about it. You know,
Yeah.
get smart about the incentives and you know.
Interesting.
Yeah, you can finagle that sort of thing, and like, you know, like the royalties and the distribution of the product that's going to be made, and like, you know, hold them to it sometimes.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, like, get a minimum royalty guarantee. Like, oh, we're going to make product. Oh, you are? Well, then give them this much a year saying you're going to make product. And if you don't make product, you still have to give it to them.
Oh, right.
So you kind of hold them to. So if someone really wants a shoe or really wants a clothing line or something like
Yeah.
that, you know, every skater's different. They all have different like things they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's only with like, you don't do that with Deluxe. You don't do that with
Right.
NHS. You do that with like the big brands.
the big
Yeah,
boys.
yeah.
Right.
The big boys.
Right.
Yeah, the ones that are making a significant amount of money off the skaters.
Right.
Those are the ones you do that with.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's just about having the confidence of like, hey, I've studied this since I was 12.
Yeah.
I feel like I understand values. I feel like I understand business.
Mhm.
And you go in and just try to make the best of it.
So crazy.
Yeah,
man.
it is crazy,
Yeah.
right? Like, to be here, and I get to do that for like my heroes.
That's amazing.
That is the crazy part, where then that makes you nervous because you look up to these guys.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
like
I'd be-
Gons is the number one example, right? It's
Yeah.
like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy to me. And I got like kind of thrown that, like, do you want to manage Mark Gonzalez? Like, yeah, but how does it, I guess, I mean, like,
Right.
of course I want to, but how does that work? I don't, you know, he was one of our first clients that we did his business and his deals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. That was when we were on our own. We didn't do deals, like I said, until like 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
But then it happened quick. You know what we did in the beginning? Besides Mark, we took a lot of the skaters that no one wanted. No one wanted them. No one would, because they couldn't make enough money off of them.
Oh.
So the other agencies were just like, this guy only makes $60,000 a year. I'm like, I'll take it. I'll do it.
Right.
You know, like, I'm happy to do it. Plus, because I was just dipping my feet in, just
Get your foot in
learning
the door,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, like, this dude's happy, that guy's happy. And then, like, when we started helping Shane out, you know, he just paid the compliment he paid us. He's like, you know, man, like, I want to be standing next to skaters.
Yeah.
And I never really played that card because, I mean, you're supposed to be a skater if you are doing what we do.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but the reality of it is some people aren't,
Yeah.
you know, but you should be. It's almost like a requirement,
Right.
you know? How can you be in this game if you're not?
It's crazy.
You know, you should, you know, want to love it, you know, really care about it, nurture it.
Seriously,
But I
yeah.
feel like, you know, like I think that's been our in. And then the other part of, you know, we were asking about Boardr Ams, like, oh, you do that and you don't make any money. We know we don't make money.
Right.
Actually, we lose money on that particular event. But we also see the next upcoming kid. So I
Right,
could be
right,
like,
yeah.
And we know who looks good. I mean, I've seen
Of course.
Zion since he was, I mean, he skated his first contest. I announced it at Skate Park at Tampa. His first time he ever skated a real contest.
Right.
So there's automatically trust.
Right.
So when Zion was at that point, you know, he had like a few agents hit him up.
Oh.
And his dad didn't really understand it, and that one I had to go hard on.
Oh, you did?
I had to, because I was like, look, I've been here since day one.
Right.
I fully understand this. I already got you. I will have you locked in on any company you want to ride for.
Wow.
I will guide you in the best way possible. And, you know, and look where he is now.
Yeah.
You know, when you didn't know, you know, from, you know, the deluxe situation and Red Bull and
Right.
Nike, and got him paid from everyone. And yeah.
I'm just sitting here trying to figure out how you could work for me.
Get that LaCroix sponsor.
It's interesting, man. The whole, you know, I think like skaters need somebody like you. You know what I mean? Like, because for the longest time there was nobody to say like, oh, here's how you do this, here's how you do that, here's how you save up for this, here's how, you know, it was just kind of like the wild, wild west.
And to go to bat for you.
Huh?
And to go to bat for you.
And they go to bat for you. You know, it's like if you were there in my audio days with the shoe money you know, it's like,
Dude, it's very true, right?
Yeah,
and
like
it's and that little bit more we could have gotten you.
Well, that's
that's
right.
like the kicker. Yeah, and I don't want to say, and you said it's not me. I mean, there's an amazing team behind me.
Right,
so don't think for a second.
The
like,
royal you.
Yeah, I'm the
know.
one here talking, but man, without everyone in the offices, it's like I have nothing. And my wife too. I have to give her credit because she lets me do whatever I want.
There you go.
You know? Yeah. So work-wise, whatever I want.
Yeah. Seriously. No, but I think skaters need you. You know what I mean? Like I think there needs to be.
I'm really grateful for the position that I have and the trust that people give me. So you know the fact that I can actually, like, someone's like, yeah, I trust you with everything. Here's my bank account number. Here's my passwords. And we have it for all these people. And I know that's a shocking thing at first when I'm like, hey, just give me can I just see your Wells Fargo account? We're gonna go look at how you're doing. And they're like, what? I'm like, well, how else am I gonna know?
Yeah,
right.
So
you can't even print the statements out.
Right.
How am I gonna figure out what you're doing? You know,
it's a trip, man, because people, I mean, that's the most private.
It is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we'd see how much Raj spends on, you know, crazy shit if we looked at his statement, you know?
Of course. You do find some shit out with people. It's funny sometimes. Yeah. Like, damn.
Yo, see, that's why you guys are all joking at that, laughing at that in the office.
Of course we are,
you
man.
know?
You know? Of course. So you can't not. You're like, damn, went back to Louis Vuitton. Like, you know, yeah, of course, man. Like, you know.
Oh, you'll just see that I went to like Chick-fil-A or something. You know?
Yeah, you know, some people, we'll make jokes of like, they swiped their card 400 times last month. Like,
that's crazy.
Like it is crazy.
No, but actually though, it's not, because who carries cash anymore?
And you know, the thing that we do for them when we're looking over that, when we're making jokes, we're taking all these items and getting them tax deductions for them. You know? So we're like using that information for their better.
Okay.
And if you're making a certain amount of money, what you pay us a year, we already saved that for you, and then you don't have to do anything. That's like the sales pitch part of it. It's like, oh, you're not getting these deductions right now, but if you pay us, you'll get them, and you won't have to think about it anymore. Would you think about when you're concentrating on something,
right?
Like being a pro skateboarder. What do you want to worry about the rest of the shit for?
Well, that's the thing is, I mean, because like a lot of the times too, like, you know, skate companies, we don't get taxes taken out of our checks, you know? So that's the biggest problem is when dealing with that, like, you know, and nobody told me the first time I got paid as a skateboarder, like, hey, save your money because you're going to have to owe at the end of the year.
Yes.
You know, nobody fucking told me that, you know?
They don't teach that in school.
They don't teach you that. I mean, it's crazy.
They don't teach you that in school.
No.
Think about high school, right? They teach you this crazy shit that like geometry, trigonometry. Did you learn how to balance your checkbook?
Right.
Nope.
No. Did you learn how to change a tire? No. You didn't learn the most basic shit in school, and that's why I quit college.
Yeah.
Because I felt like, what am I doing here? I don't think I learned anything from 9th grade on.
Right.
I don't think I did.
Seriously.
Really, basic math, reading and writing. The ability to communicate. I had a couple speech classes in college that helped.
I feel like the most successful people that I know all dropped out of like high school.
Yeah.
Which is fucking crazy.
Yeah. No, seriously.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Skateboarding is full of that, right? Because we're creative and just crazy personalities, artistically driven. I mean, some of the most brilliant people in skateboarding didn't. I mean, look at. Right. I mean, I don't know, like Mark Gonzalez. So brilliant, but definitely didn't do good in school.
Well, we don't know that, did he? Maybe you do.
I don't know. I don't know that, but I'm guessing. I mean, come on.
So, but would you ever take on somebody that wasn't that made their money outside of skateboarding?
Hey, we have one BMXer.
Okay, but what about like if somebody had like an office job somewhere?
We have one model.
Oh,
Whoa.
One model that we manage her money.
female?
Yeah.
Let me get her Instagram.
I can't. Yeah, I'll give you. I don't want to talk about it.
Get her
But
Instagram after the.
Yeah,
I'm
one
gonna slide into that DM. You know?
Yeah. She's like full on model that you know, and
Oh, really?
You
Now,
know.
what would be like for people watching or whatever, like, or Roger?
Listen.
What would you? No, what would you like? What would you recommend if a person is living check to check or something, right? Say they make 70 grand a year,
Yeah.
right? But they're still living monthly check to check. You know,
Yeah.
what would you recommend for them to do? You know,
normally it's never a earning problem.
Oh.
It's always a spending problem.
spending problem.
It's always a spending problem. So if you're making 70, you probably have a BMW,
okay.
and then you have expensive insurance because you have BMW,
Yes, right.
and then your oil changes are $80.
There you go.
And, like,
Tires
all
are-
of it is just
It adds up.
It all goes part of it. So you have to just adjust that lifestyle. I'm like, get a Honda, get a Toyota,
Get a
small
Prius
pickup.
or-
Drive
Yeah,
your
just
girlfriend's car.
Drive your girlfriend's car. There you go. It's just about making smart, common sense decisions, but you also have to like not care about that stuff either.
Yes.
And we all care about it material items to a certain extent.
To a certain
it's
extent,
nice.
right,
To
yeah.
a certain extent.
Depends
You
on
know?
the person, right?
Everyone's got a different level of what's
course.
nice, and a lot of money
Yeah.
is all relative. But I see people that make well into six figures that live paycheck to paycheck,
Yeah.
and guys that make nothing that live paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
Or I have guys that make maybe 100 grand, 120. They have money that like they're just sitting there.
Yeah.
Just sitting there. We're figuring out what to do with it because they live below that. And I live my personal life like that.
Below-
so
okay.
I feel like I can, because I live in Florida too. It's like,
Yeah.
it's just different. It's a different lifestyle than out here. So, which is why I don't live here.
So you would recommend to just consolidate your spending?
Man, it's
pretty
just
much,
about controlling it. Controlling it, man.
I mean, it
That's
makes
all
sense.
It is. It's just,
I don't.
it's not. There's nothing I'm telling you that you don't. Everyone already knows this.
Yeah,
but
it's
other
hard.
thing,
It's hard to execute.
and
that,
when
though.
when you're paying someone to tell you this, it changes your mentality
bet.
too.
Yeah.
Because then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'll have clients tell me sometimes, man, how did I not pay my taxes?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, you wanted to buy this new house.
Yeah.
So you bought that and you put all your money down on that. What? Why'd you let me do that? I'm like, wait, you want me to start saying no? I'll say no.
Right.
I can do that, but you asked me to facilitate this for you.
Yeah.
So I made it happen.
Right.
And I also told you're going to get behind on your taxes, and I told you there's going to be a penalty, and now you're upset about it, but you wanted the house.
Right.
So you just have to pick and choose. But if they're
Which skater was that?
No, there's no way.
No?
I can't tell you that, man. No way.
Nobody tells me anything on this.
Chris, why don't you
show,
start guessing
know?
and he'll wink when.
Oh yeah. Give me a wink.
Way.
Give me a
No
wink.
way. You don't even know. The part of it is that that part of our business is like it's not even talked about.
Oh, yeah,
really,
I
this
know.
is the most I've ever talked about.
Well, it's funny, but I mean,
you just don't
listen,
talk about
man.
it.
As a joke or
Yeah.
whatever, I always ask,
Yeah.
people how much they make and all this,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then like nobody ever
Yeah.
says anything because it
That's
is
fine.
it is really it's not talked about.
Yeah, it is interesting, right? And
Yeah.
and when you uncover those secrets, we have those secrets. And if you work in our office, like the new kids always have to sign NDAs, and I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, if you ever tell anyone any of this, and you ever want to work in skateboarding, I'll make sure you don't.
Right.
I'll absolutely make sure you don't.
Right.
And it's like they take it very seriously. We take that like
Of course.
the
You
utmost
have to.
seriousness.
You
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah,
You
it's
got people's
livelihoods.
for sure. For
and
sure.
and it's like once again, I can't. I the fact that people trust me with that is a huge.
Of course.
it's huge.
Yeah.
And our bank loves us.
I bet.
Because they're like, oh, if I go in the bank, they're like, oh, Ryan's here. How you doing?
Yeah.
Ryan?
They
Because
give
I
you-
never go in there, but then they know I'm responsible for all that
Right.
shit coming through their bank.
They give you a cup
So-
of coffee, a little cup of tea.
get a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
a free safe deposit box.
There you go.
A lollipop.
You get a toaster. You get a free toaster.
a mug, and it's all that great
He
shit.
leaves with a goodie bag. What do they call swag bag?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate that word. Isn't that the
That's
worst?
what it is.
Though?
That's what it is.
Yeah.
But no, it's crazy, man. I mean, you guys are doing great things. Like I said, I think that was kind of needed for skaters. I think you should do it for every skater.
It came about very naturally.
Yeah.
And I get inquiries all the time, and it feels good to be able to give that part back to it.
Skateboarding says, it's like nobody's there to tell you anything.
It's still the Wild West.
So it is
Still the Wild West.
It is.
And it'll start to change a little bit. I think contests. Part of it will change,
Right.
with the Olympics and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then there'll be one-off things that are just cool and rad and that have more meaning and value because
Yeah.
everything else is structured, So, but yeah, I mean, skateboard kind of growing up right now. We're coming into our own,
Right.
And I guess there were some guys in the 80s that made significant money way before my time, you know, like
Yeah.
So I was gonna ask you, do you
soy
think we'll like relive in the '80s in a weird way?
in some ways we are, right?
Yeah.
Where contests like matter now. I mean, they kind of do.
Mm-hmm.
I think they do, and you
Yeah.
can make money doing it. So you know, because I've had you know, just to take one person for example, and Kelvin Hoffler is not a client of mine, but he's such a great example because he won Street League a couple years ago, and there's no way in hell he was going to get invited to that. And I've heard someone say like, "Well, yeah, man, but he's not legit." I'm like, well,
Whoa. Yeah.
what is legit? Just add up the prize money he made that year, and is that what do you want? You want to make $40,000 a year riding for a legit company, or I just saw that that year he made $400 in prize money.
It's crazy.
So you're like,
Yeah.
what?
No,
what?
but he didn't have a trick on Hollywood High or fucking.
Is he having fun?
Yeah.
Is he enjoying skateboarding?
Sure
is he
he
traveling
is.
the world?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, to me
Yeah.
that's pretty legit.
But at the same time, too, like there's only a handful of dudes that are making them. You know, there's only a
Yeah,
handful
there's
of
not a lot
dudes
of
that
that.
are, you know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
for every other skater out there, like they skate for the board company and the little the wheel company and the, you know what I mean?
there's
Like
a big divide.
There's a gap,
A
yeah.
big
No,
divide.
a huge
Yeah.
divide. You
Yeah,
know, like I
huge
said,
divide.
I could hold them in my hands.
Yeah.
You know, it's true though. It's
Yeah.
true. Like
Yeah.
everybody. Oh, what do you do? Oh, I skate and everything. Oh, do you do the contests? And no, not
No.
really. How do you? I don't understand.
Do you know
like,
Tony
how do
Hawk?
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
know? Tony Hawk's another one. Yeah.
Have you had him on the show?
No,
Not yet.
no, but
That
love
would be,
to.
that would be huge.
But it's like, you know, for the other skaters in the industry, it's, you know, it's tough right now. You know,
It is, and I think that, hopefully there's a resurgence. But you know what happened with all that? There's no barrier anymore. There used to be a barrier to have a hard goods company, right? But now you have your Instagram account,
Yep.
and anyone will manufacture your 100 boards you want to order. I mean, we
course.
can have a company by the end of the show.
Oh, totally.
if we
Yeah,
want to.
yeah.
So there's no that barrier doesn't exist now with the big brands, shoe, energy drink, that sort of thing. There's a barrier still. You
Right.
can't just start a shoe company. You can, but it could
pricey.
suck.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's pricey.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
It costs you $1 million
Yeah.
to get in the shoe business. We could have a board company at the end of the day with like $7,000, right?
Right.
Have a team and
and a
run
couple thousand followers.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Instantly.
Yeah.
So there's no barrier. So that's kind of diluted all the powerful brands.
Right,
You know?
exactly.
Like the girl in chocolates, and it's just like.
Well, I mean,
you know?
back in the day, it was like, you know, you had to, you know, the only way you could know about like Girl in Chocolate or these other big companies was through a magazine or through
Yeah.
their videos or
Yeah.
through this. And
That was the barrier.
That was the barrier. You know, now
Yeah.
it's like, oh, Instagram, that, like you said, like we got to have a company right now.
Oh, look at that company.
And now there's
Look at
hundreds
Revive.
or thousands of them. Yeah.
Revive.
Yeah.
It's
Real-
one of the biggest companies in skateboarding.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But who?
But
I don't-
they're in a very different place that they're in skateboarding.
Yeah.
But the core skateboarders,
They don't know anything
They
about
don't
it.
know.
They don't even
No,
know that.
I
People
just learned about it.
Yeah.
So,
Did you just
yeah.
learn about it?
Yeah.
I've
I mean,
known
like,
about
I kind of knew about it, but then someone really brought it to my attention recently.
No. I feel like they're in a parallel universe.
Yeah, it is
it's
like
like
that.
they're this core skaters don't even know that this thing exists.
But it's there and it's
but
working
every
because-
fucking kid in skateboarding knows about them and probably has skated their boards before, like their first
Yeah,
boards or whatever,
yeah.
you know,
So-
or still riding their boards.
Right. So it just is diluted all that, and there's no barrier. So it doesn't mean as much.
Right.
Unless you get on that credible brand. You get on that really credible brand, then it means something.
Yeah.
You know?
That's
And
true.
then it's cool to see like the powerhouse is still maintained like real or whatever. Like that's cool to see that. You
Yeah.
know? Like
Yeah, of course.
But they like work I mean, those brands that are maintaining, they work really hard
They do.
at keeping up.
Yeah.
Really hard. That's not easy to do. And you see some other big ones fall off.
Here's a random one. Do you think there's so many brands because a lot of these wood shops, their minimum orders are like, oh, you can get 25 boards.
Yeah, that's exactly why, right?
Yeah.
So you can start. We've talked about starting fake companies on purpose.
Yeah.
just to do it. That'd be
Yeah.
fun, you
Yeah.
know. And
Totally.
make a pro and do the whole deal. Someone you never heard of would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Just
Oh, yeah.
do it. Great
Fred,
April
Fred
Fools.
Brown.
That fucking
Yeah.
And you could just go on YouTube and make your own show, and then
Yeah.
you just blow it up that way. And
There's no barrier anymore. That
Yeah.
big video, it's not. It's just harder to do because we can do what we're doing right now
Yeah.
and create like. Hopefully, people think it's good content. You
Yeah,
know,
right.
and you can create something valuable. And it's easy because you're just committed to doing it because
Of
there's no
course.
money involved. You just
Right.
want to do some cool shit.
Yeah.
And that's what every kid wants to do with every brand.
Exactly.
I think there's a value in video parts in videos, but they have to be so well known in skateboarding. It has to
Yes.
be Shane O'Neill. It has to be Paul Rodriguez or someone that's so.
It stands the test of time.
Well,
still.
yes,
that's true.
But,
Yeah.
but that's what you think too. But,
No,
but you know, when you go back to like the Revive dudes and all that stuff, like there's dudes
Yeah.
out there with skate parts on the internet that probably have like 700,000 views.
Yeah.
When Shane O'Neill's part will probably have like 300,000. You know what I mean? Like there's dudes out there that we probably don't even know about that are getting all these crazy views.
John
There
Hill.
are.
Huh?
John Hill.
Okay, yeah, John
know
Hill,
who
like
that is.
you know.
Yeah.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Like these
Yeah.
dudes, like it's
Yeah.
so in your eyes,
because
you feel like that,
We're in one.
but
we have an idea of what's legitimate.
Yeah.
And we were
right,
raised in this
exactly.
like
Yeah.
this is legit, and I've been you learn it that way. But these guys they're going against the grain because they're never going to make it in our world.
Yeah.
They'll
Right.
never make it.
But
The
here's the
crazy
thing,
thing
though.
with those YouTubers is like they taught this whole generation how to skate in a weird way.
That's a good
they
point.
Yeah.
they got on the YouTube early, whatever. And they're like, here's how you do a kickflip,
Yeah.
and here's how to do an ollie, and here's how to do this.
So
Yeah.
the children's
And,
show
like,
of skateboarding.
yeah, and-
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
Chris
basically-
Chan is a good one, right?
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like a perfect
and he
example.
rips.
He does rip.
Yeah.
Oh
he's
God,
good.
Yeah.
for sure.
I didn't know who he was till he was at X Games one year in our little booth where guys were playing a game of skate for fun. It was like Paul and someone else playing a game of skate, and he's there filming it. I'm like, who's this dude? And I'm like, it's Chris Chan. I'm like, who the hell's Chris Chan?
Yeah.
Right.
And then I found out, I was like, oh shit, this dude's got millions and millions of views and this many
crazy.
100,000 followers, and it's just that opened my eyes to.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you can just do this.
Right.
You don't need anything else.
Absolutely,
Yeah, not at
dude.
all.
And that's the thing is too, the YouTubers also, they've been doing it for so long that they probably just started it just like how we started this show.
That's
you
right.
know, and they just built this thing.
They
and
built
of
their
course,
audience.
They built the audience,
Yeah.
and of course, what makes sense? I'm going to make some shirts because I got fans. I'm going to make a board. Now I'm going to, and then all of a sudden they got a skate park and they got this, and they're huge.
Yeah.
And
you
so-
know, it's just like this. It's
More
it's
boards than anyone.
Yep.
It only makes sense,
And it's way outside. That's way outside of skateboarding too. That's in everything.
Right.
It's in
Oh, yeah.
everything.
No,
I mean,
of
you guys don't
course,
have
of
kids,
course.
but my 4-year-old watches these like unpackaging.
Yeah,
videos.
unboxing
It's
videos.
Crazy.
Right.
I'm like, what are you watching? Of course, I watch the dumbest shit too, right?
Well,
Because
yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
watching
yeah.
skateboard videos, and
Right.
I'm 43 years old. But she's watching this thing, and I'm like, that is the dumbest thing ever. But it talks to her. It speaks to her.
Yes.
Just like
Right.
Revive speaks to somebody.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be dissing those guys because I'm not.
No, we're
because
not
I have
at
a
all.
lot of. I respect
Right.
anyone that's hustling. If you're
course,
hustling and
yeah.
going for it, I got tons of respect for
Yeah.
that. But it's just a good example of
Yeah.
like, huh? Like, what is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't think
But
we're
they just came through like the back door.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, so
But without anybody noticing
Yeah.
either.
Okay.
Like they really like.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think Welcome did that too.
Oh, yeah?
You see their
Okay.
ads in Thrasher. I'm like, Welcome, and then all of a sudden, it's the #1 board everywhere you go.
Yeah.
So Sinclair would tell me that he's driving across the country like he does,
Yeah.
and then he's in a shop in Iowa.
Right.
Here we go. He got Welcome. They got 30 Welcome boards and 4 toy machines.
crazy,
It is
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Do you think that like 10 years ago, Welcome would have been around and accepted into the skate industry?
No, but you can create your own following now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And what did they do? They went
Yeah.
and picked people that no one else wanted that were rad.
Right.
That were rad, and they gave them a chance. And so now everyone knows who Nora is.
Oh, yeah.
And so people know who Daniel Vargas is, and Ryan Townley, and all these dudes that are just, no one wanted them. No one's going to do anything with them. But that dude Jason saw something in them,
Right.
and
Yeah.
went and created this whole other following. How many kids ride those boards now? And they have some of the best skaters on their team.
Yeah.
That,
Oh, yeah.
that Roman kid. Have you seen him?
he's awesome.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So-
they got a great team.
yeah. So I just think that ability to do it now it's there.
It
You can
is.
create that.
But he also he just realized like, all right, everyone's making popsicle stick boards. Like,
did his own shit.
yeah, I'm gonna make some shape boards.
He's a great story because everyone hated on it. You can't do that. That's not going to sell. You
Right.
can't draw your own
But
graphics. You
the
need
funny thing is, like, Lucero was making shape boards for years and it never caught on. Then he did, and all of a sudden it was like,
yeah,
it blew up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it.
Isn't
I
it
mean,
weird?
It is.
It's like the right place, right time. Like
Yeah.
you know what?
Yeah,
It's
for
it's the
sure.
weirdest thing.
I've always been the naysayer as well. I've always been like, that shit's not going to work.
Right.
That's not going to work. And then I've always,
Yeah.
eaten my words later, and I like that. I like when see people have success. And, you just talking about money earlier, when I found out that money was available, or when you start, when you pull back the sheets and you're like, oh shit, you learn things.
Yeah.
And then I never thought anyone else had more money, or they don't deserve that. I always thought like, how do I get that?
Yeah.
How do I get there? I always feel like everyone else earned what they have.
Right.
How do I get there? How do I get to that place? Or how do I get that position of power? How do I get in that like spot where I can make decisions? And it takes a long, long time to get there.
Of course.
You're just chipping away at it.
Right.
Chipped away at it for years.
Yeah.
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 Like I said, I always wondered why old ass dudes like me have the jobs they do. And then here you are. It's because of 20 years of doing the same damn thing
Yeah.
over and over again.
For sure.
Where
True.
you earn that trust.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
I've always been about the more skateboarders, the better. What are we trying to, that whole like, shun them and like, fuck that. Why would you not want other kids to skate?
Yeah.
Why would you not want them to
Right.
experience the great things that we experience, or the satisfaction, or
Right.
the defeat, or like all seeing the things we see, or being in the streets when you're younger? That's such like, I feel like I learned so much, getting jumped.
Yeah.
Someone spraying with a fire extinguisher, when I was like 15, all that shit of like getting your ass beat. Well, it's good. It's good life lessons.
Yeah. I mean, because it was a sacred thing, an underground thing, right? And then now there's so many doors open to it. Like there's the street, it's all over TV. So now kids that wouldn't even have picked up a skateboard are picking up skateboards.
They do.
They would have been playing basketball or baseball or whatever. More kids now are playing or skating than playing like Little League.
Good.
And
that's when you hear the anti-Olympic argument, I'm like, wait, so you don't want kids in third world countries to skate, and you don't want some kids, parents right now that don't accept it, then they see it in the Olympics and go, hey, you know what? That's cool. It's in the Olympics. I'll get my son a skateboard.
Yeah.
Why would you not want that?
Right.
Like, so I always think of that exposure as like a really good thing. You can choose to be part of it or not be part of it, and you can maybe benefit from it or maybe not. But hey, man, it gets more kids skateboarding. It's an amazing thing. We get to live great lives, and why would it?
For sure.
I think people want, when skateboarding grows, they want the other people to live it skateboarding the way they lived it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
And this is not. It's just almost not going to happen anymore.
No.
So, but
it's a new way. There's a new way, and there'll always be a new way. But it's always the kids, right? And I read this music producer that I think, I guess recently it was like Redman or someone else came out and just was like bashing all the new rappers, and this isn't rap music, and this isn't. And there was a producer that said, well, you just have to always go with the kids. Yeah. And you do always have to go with the kids because there's a new crop coming up.
Of course,
and they're going to take over.
And guaranteed, someone thought that same thing about his music when he first came out.
Of course they did. Yeah, absolutely. And skateboarding is the same way. There's going to be the new shit that, think about the stuff that came back with no complies or fast plants. I'm like, fast plants? Like, we were doing fast plants off jump ramps in 88 and stopped in 89 because it was whack.
Right. Yeah.
But then now it's cool. Every kid does every fast plant you could possibly think of.
If you can do the trick good and make it look good,
it's always good.
You got to pass.
It's always good.
Yeah. But if you look like shit doing it,
right?
Yeah, you gotta go. I know. And the older you get, you guys are probably the same way. But the older you get, we're so critical of the way stuff's done. And plus, you've seen it all.
Yeah.
So you're like, right. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and someone kid's like NBD, like, no, dude, someone did that in 91.
No. Yeah, I know. We're ultra critical about that.
Yeah.
But we have this young kid that's in our office. He's brand new, and I just try to explain to him how every single thing is about how you do it, no matter what, in business, in skateboarding, in life. It's like the style you have when you do it is just, it's so critical to having it look good. It's just essential. Because he actually said,
execution is key.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
He said, hell yeah, man, give it if it's free, I'll wear it. I was like, fuck that. No, you can't. No, absolutely not.
Right.
You can't do that. But I think that when you first get stuff, you're like, what?
They're excited.
No way.
Right.
Yeah. He's, someone gave him a pair of like shoes the other day with like Velcro on. I'm like, throw those away. Don't wear those. And he's got this big crazy watch. And I'm like, what are you wearing that for? It's like, it was free. I'm like, so?
Right. Well, it's almost like when I was coming up too, it was like,
matter of taste.
You could almost like be tainted for skating or repping a certain company. If you're on a little company and you're just like, on that, like you could be like, now you can't get on the bigger companies because you're just kind of
it's like that very much to this day.
Oh, totally.
So I have a lot of guys I advise but don't work for, and we're just friends and they trust me. And
what do you think about this? What do you think about that?
I'm like, don't do it. No. But they're going to pay me $500 a month. But I'm like, but don't you want to be here?
Yeah.
You're like, well, you're just going to have to pay half of that back to the government. Yeah. So, $250, like, here, I'll give you that. Like, whatever.
If you live in California, especially. Or if you live in New York, then especially. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you just have to know that. But that's like something that you... And then you have to be confident in voicing it.
People are going to talk shit. Like, yeah, but I get $500. Like, people are going to talk shit.
Right.
Yeah, you're better off not doing it.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you're tainting yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just wait.
When it comes from like a young kid, though, that $500 means a lot to them. But you still have to explain to them it's not worth it. So it's a hard. They're in a hard place.
Yeah.
They're like, fuck, I can't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, just keep doing what you're doing.
But they're still a young kid. Like, what do they need? Like, they probably live with their parents or they live at a skate house.
Or Chris, 17 or 18.
Chris,
what?
Yeah.
Dude, so many kids are like coming out here and...
Dude, there's a lot of kids from Florida that are out here like that. If they got $500 a month from anyone, they would be stoked. So I know that for a fact.
No, not that they won't be stoked, but they probably live at a skate house. Or their lives aren't like ours, where we have like real life bills. It's like they could probably just live at a skate house for a couple $100 and 12 dudes or whatever.
Suck it up and don't do anything whack.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, wrap it up.
Well, yeah, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
This has been great, dude. Thank you so much for coming, man.
Thank you guys
This
for
has been a
having me.
blast.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate it.
It's so insightful.
Bonds
this
are
is-
reinforced.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, bro. Thank you.
Insightful. I'll come back in a year.
Come back whenever you want.
All
You can
right.
take Kelly's button.
No, you know what? I'm gonna start saying this, Roger. You can't say that anymore. I get to choose who can choose the button, and you can come sit in the button.
Oh, there you go.
You can come show
Okay.
the button.
What's
Right.
that?
Dude, I have to press this button
Yes,
if
to
I want
press-
to talk.
yeah.
Why is that?
Because tell him,
That's,
Chris.
that's the way it's. I designed it. No, it was designed so he wouldn't talk that much.
Oh.
You know, he had to push the button to
Yeah,
chime
yeah.
in.
But then all I have
He
to do is just hold
he
it down.
He just
and then
holds
it's
it down
pretty
the whole
simple.
fucking
Oh, yeah,
time.
you got it.
Yeah.
He's
Figured it
basically
out.
held the button down for 3 hours and 8 minutes.
Love you guys.
Dude, thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
You're the man.
I really appreciate
Fuck
it.
And
Thank you.
can't wait to see what's next, man. Can't wait to see you.
See you at the next contest.
Yeah, can't
The
wait.
what?
Can't wait
See you at
to.
the next contest.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to figure something out.
Yeah.
We're try to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, can't wait for you to rep me. It's gonna be great.
Let's do it.
It's gonna be great.
I brought a contract.
Did
We'll go
you?
sign it. Yeah.
Let's do it. I have my lawyer look over it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. How'd you do that?
I don't fuck around.